Chapter 49. Let your aunt go, and she has to go. But Mu Chichi was very worried that Su Zipei would be mocked by others, especially Mama Mu. She did not want her aunt to suffer such humiliation. Leave the rest to Jing Yun. Would Jing Yun spare her aunt a few days' worth of mockery? Mu Chichi knew very well that the elegance and composure of nobles emanated from their very bones, while Su Zipei's aura was very simple. Even if she did not know how it would turn out, she could not do without her parents. Qian Qian seemed to have noticed her friend's distress, and so told her. What's wrong with letting your aunt attend? What's the point of being richer now? If you're afraid of being bullied by White Lotus Mu, I can tell my parents to take care of your aunt. Mu Chichi could not help smiling at that. It's good enough that you're so considerate. I'll think of something myself. In fact, Qian was right. At most, if someone bullied her aunt, she would fight them to the death. In the evening, Mu Chichi returned home after class to find that the stylist arranged by Jing Yun had arrived at the little mansion and was now changing Su Zipei's appearance. You're back, Chichi? Su Zipei was sitting on the sofa, letting the stylist trim her hair. Aunt, what are you doing? Young Master Sheng told me not to embarrass you at the parent-teacher conference. So he arranged for these designers to help Aunt Zipei. They will also teach Aunt Zipei a lot about fashion, so you don't have to worry when the time comes. Su Zipei smiled at her. Young Master Sheng has been very kind to us. That's why she's so obsessed with that man, Mu Chichi thought. You guys continue. I'm going upstairs to do my homework. With those words, Mu Chichi grabbed her bag and went upstairs. Then, she took out her phone and texted Sheng Xiao. Xiao, are you really going to change your aunt? In just a few days? Sheng Xiao did not reply to Mu Chichi when he received the message. Judging from the little one's excitement, she must be looking forward to the parent-teacher conference in a few days. Seeing that Sheng Xiao was not giving up, Mu Chichi decided not to be discouraged. If worse came to worst, she would do her best to protect Su Zipei if she was bullied. Mu Chichi did not know when Sheng Xiao would be back, so she brought the blueprints to a professional craftsman over the weekend and used the pocket money she had saved to have the craftsman teach her how to make it. She didn't need the cufflinks to be exquisite, but they had to be unique in this world. 3 days later, Su Zipei had completely changed her appearance. Her long, silky hair had turned into a short, fluffy hairstyle, accentuating her exquisite facial features. With her perfect makeup, Mu Chichi could not help but be surprised. There was indeed a huge difference after a woman put on makeup. Next was her style of dressing. In the past, Su Zipei was very thrifty, casual and simple. But now, there was someone who matched her clothes and put them in the wardrobe. She would never make a mistake again. In other words, from head to toe, even from her behavior, Su Zipei was like a noble from the British royal family. Aunt Zipei, I don't even recognize you. Mu Chichi could not help exclaiming when she saw Su Zipei's transformation. Then, a slender figure walked behind Mu Chichi and held her wriggling shoulders. Why are you so excited? Mu Chichi turned and almost jumped when she saw Sheng Xiao. Fortunately, Su Zipei was there, and she held back and did not lunge at him. Brother Xiao, why are you here? To check the results. Sheng Xiao was still tired, and the plane had just landed. Still, he couldn't care less about anything else as he missed the little one, and went to the little mansion first. Then, Sheng Xiao studied Su Zipei from head to toe with a sharp gaze. Not bad. Yes, Aunt Zipei. You'll definitely be the prettiest tomorrow. Mu Chichi sighed in awe. But Xiao. No, I mean Brother Xiao, what if someone else hits on you? Stay aloof the whole time, and look at others as if I'm looking down on all of you. Don't respond to what others say, especially Mama Mu's provocations. Remember, everyone but you will be a joke tomorrow. Not to mention Su Zipei. Even Mu Chichi felt her blood boiling after hearing that. Of course, Mu Chichi and Su Zipei were complementary, and Su Zipei could not do without Mu Chichi's cooperation. And you? Sheng Xiao turned to look at Mu Chichi and told her. You must look at others with the attitude of my aunt is so noble and cold. You must hold back if you can't accept it. You must remain calm even in the face of Mu Tongshua's provocation, and radiate calmness from your bones. Mu Chichi nodded at that. I understand. Brother Xiao, if that's the case, I'll watch your performance tomorrow. I'm going back to the Sheng family. In just a few short minutes, Sheng Xiao was about to leave when Mu Qiqi stopped him. Do you want to eat before you leave? There's something else, Sheng Xiao said, and mouthed to Mu Qiqi, see you tonight. Mu Qiqi nodded and did not stop him. I'll see you out. Save your strength for the parent-teacher conference tomorrow. With those venomous words, Sheng Xiao turned and left. Mu Qiqi wanted to see Sheng Xiao at all times, but he was really too busy. Young Master Sheng is such a good person. It must be hard on him to take care of us alone when he's so busy. I only hope that he could find a beautiful young lady and live happily ever after. Mu Qiqi couldn't help asking Su Zipei at that. Aunt Zipei, what kind of girl do you think Brother Xiao is suitable for? Su Zipei thought about it and shook her head. I really can't think of anyone who would be good enough for young Master Sheng. Mu Qiqi was both happy and sad at that. After all, she was too ordinary, while Sheng Xiao was too dazzling. She was not even sure if Sheng Xiao liked her, or if he was just teasing her on a whim. On his way home after leaving the small mansion, Sheng Xiao ran into Jing Yin, who was waiting for him. Young master, the banquet is about to start, and there are many young ladies here tonight. It seems that the chairman is looking for a partner for you young masters and ladies. I don't care. You know my taste, Sheng Xiao told Jing Yin. I'm leaving halfway through the banquet. Help me think of something. Understood, young master. Chapter 50. At the celebration banquet, the chips clashed and goblets clattered. Sheng Xiao sat in a corner bored, completely unwilling to join such a boring and time-wasting gathering. When Papa Sheng saw that Sheng Xiao was sitting in a corner, he gestured for a few single girls to come over and strike up a conversation. Many of the socialites had the heart, but not the guts. One of them, a voluptuous young lady from the Jiang family, walked up to Sheng Xiao ostentatiously, intent on challenging the legend of aristocratic circles. Young Master Sheng, do you mind if I sit beside you? Sheng Xiao opened his eyes and glanced at her. There was a teasing smile at the corner of his mouth. Compared to a hill, I prefer a flat plain. I wonder if Miss Jiang has heard of the phrase big breasts without brains? Miss Jiang did a double take, a flame abruptly burning in her eyes. Young Master Sheng doesn't seem to care about women. You're wrong. There's still someone who catches my eye. Who is it? Sheng Xiao smiled and stood up from the sofa. He said to her, I'm going to do something exciting with her now. Are you coming with me? Miss Jiang's expression was complicated and distressed. There was no one like Sheng Xiao who was unrestrained and unafraid of offending anyone. But it was precisely because of his terrible character that he attracted a lot of attention. In the end, Sheng Xiao went to Jing Yin's side, because he knew that Jing Yin had informed Papa Mu that Sheng Xiao must leave at once. Nonetheless, when they left the hotel, Sheng Xiao told Jing Yin, get out of the car. Young master, even if you're going to see Miss Mu Qiqi, you still have to take care of things, or I'll be troubled. Jing Yin's excuse for having Sheng Xiao come out was that there was an emergency that Sheng Xiao had to deal with immediately. Sheng Xiao said nothing, and simply waved at Jing Yin, gesturing for him to go home by himself. After that, Sheng Xiao drove to the small mansion and sent his little one a text message when he got downstairs. Moments later, Mu Qiqi jogged into the car, the fragrance of her body still lingering in Sheng Xiao's nostrils. Still, it was much more relaxing than the expensive perfumes that women wore. And Sheng Xiao couldn't help putting his hand on Mu Qiqi's shoulder. It smells so good. Use this from now on, and don't change it. Mu Qiqi knew at once when she saw his retro black suit that he had come from some big occasion. Are you not busy? Sheng Xiao retracted his head and said proudly, then I'm leaving. Don't go. Mu Qiqi quickly grabbed him. It wasn't easy for me to see you. Aren't you afraid of your aunt? Sheng Xiao glanced sideways at her and asked. I'm scared, but I can't control my heart either. Your heart is already under my control, Sheng Xiao told her directly. When Mu Qiqi heard that, she immediately lowered her head and muttered, what about your heart? Pretending not to hear it, Sheng Xiao leaned on Mu Qiqi's shoulder and closed his eyes to rest. Mu Qiqi did not ask further, because she knew that it was one-sided. She wanted to like him, and even if he did not respond, her heart would not change. After a long while, Sheng Xiao spoke again. Don't forget your past and your dreams because of me. Mu Qiqi was a little disappointed at that, but she quickly took out a small gift box from her pocket and gave it to Sheng Xiao. This is for you. What is it? Sheng Xiao took it and opened it to see that it was a cufflink. He looked very used to it. I made it myself, Mu Qiqi added. Sheng Xiao simply put it in his coat pocket and said nothing else, turning to Mu Qiqi. Go back. Your aunt will come looking for you later. Xiao Xiao, aren't you afraid? Mu Qiqi sat in the car and did not move. It was then that Sheng Xiao reached out and hooked his arm around her neck, pulling her closer. I've told you before. Don't think about getting out alone since you dragged me into hell. I didn't want to get out alone, Mu Qiqi said, feeling wronged. But I don't dare to ask anything from Xiao Xiao. I can only be careful. Perhaps drunk. Sheng Xiao simply picked Mu Qiqi up and placed her on his lap. Mu Qiqi did a double take. She had never sat on Sheng Xiao in such a position. Even so, they could clearly feel each other's warmth. Mu Qiqi could also smell the scent of red wine on Sheng Xiao's body. You drank. Sheng Xiao was about to say something when he saw someone passing by the woods. He quickly put Mu Qiqi back on her seat and said to her after the person left, Go back. I'll come back tomorrow night. Okay. Mu Qiqi nodded. Then, she opened the door and got out of the car. She watched as Sheng Xiao drove away, feeling complicated and upset. It was clearly shameful, and she had to be careful. Why did she plunge headfirst into it? Soon Mu Qiqi returned to her room. Sheng Xiao did not react even after she gave him the gift. He probably would not like something made by a child like her. In fact, she would not know that Sheng Xiao parked his car by the roadside after he left the little mansion. He took out a small box from his coat and touched the cufflinks inside. After all, it was the first time Sheng Xiao had received something made by someone else since he was a child. Although the design of the cufflinks was not very impressive, and even looked adorably ugly, Sheng Xiao put them in the pocket of his suit, close to his heart. The next day, when Mu Qiqi went downstairs, Su Zipei was ready to go to Eton to make Mu Qiqi proud. Mu Qiqi quickly gave her a thumbs up when she saw that Su Zipei was dressed in luxury goods. You're so beautiful today. It's good that you like it. But it's too expensive and I'm afraid I'll break it. Don't be nervous, Aunt Zipei. Just do as Xiao, Brother Xiao said last night. Mu Qiqi told Su Zipei. Don't worry, it won't break. Su Zipei smiled and poked Mu Qiqi's nose. Don't worry. I know what to do. I won't drop the ball when it matters. Mu Qiqi made an okay gesture and left the little mansion with Su Zipei after breakfast. Even old Lin was impressed by Su Zipei. You're very beautiful today, Miss Su. Su Zipei smiled at old Lin as Sheng Xiao taught her. That was how one's temperament came to be. Soon they got into the car. Still Mu Qiqi, who had just told Su Zipei not to be nervous, was now nervous herself. Chapter 51. When they arrived at Eton's gates, Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi got out of their respective cars and walked side by side towards the gates. The designer had trained Su Zipei on how to walk properly, and though it was only for a short time, Su Zipei remembered the essentials. In short, she had to walk with her head held high, and posture was very important. It was the most direct expression of a woman's dignity. Mu Qiqi looked around to observe the attention of the students, and found that they were staring at Su Zipei from time to time. There was no mockery in their eyes but amazement. Even the principal, who was passing by, noticed Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi's footsteps when he saw them walking past him. Are you all right? Su Zipei quickly asked Mu Qiqi when there was no one around. Mu Qiqi smiled and gave her a thumbs up. Su Zipei held Mu Qiqi's shoulder, and they arrived at the gates of the classroom. Most of the students and their parents were already there, including Mu Tongxue and her mother, who had wanted to wake up early to watch Mu Qiqi make a fool of herself. Who knew? Mama Mu was shocked when Su Zipei entered the classroom wearing a black coat and holding a diamond-studded handbag. She could not believe her eyes. Su Zipei was younger than most of the parents present, and a few years younger than Mama Mu herself. She was certainly more eye-catching than Mama Moo with her meticulous dressing and outstanding presence. Shwe, or is that your aunt? Mu Tongxue nodded and turned to her mother. Yes, Mommy. I can't believe it. Mama Moo's chest was overflowing with indignation. Mu Qiqi deliberately observed the mother and daughter's expressions and sneered. Sometimes, she could not help but wonder if she was born from her aunt, and had nothing to do with the mother and daughter. Qian Qian quickly approached Mu Qiqi when she saw her at her seat. Your aunt is so beautiful. What are you afraid of? That's because you haven't seen how shameless some people are. I'm afraid that my aunt will be bullied. Mu Qiqi answered Qian Qian quietly. Don't be afraid. Mommy and I are on your side. Hence, while everyone was waiting for their parents, Mama Mu quickly went to Su Zipei and told her, Look, my sister looks extraordinary after dressing up. Even so, Su Zipei simply ignored Mama Mu. She simply held Mu Qiqi's shoulder and chatted happily with both of them. Utterly embarrassed, Mama Mu could only return to Mu Tongshue's side. That was when the other parents around them couldn't help laughing. After all, Su Zipei never even looked at Mama Mu. It was Qianqian's mother who asked, The bag in your hand? Mama Mu sneered at the side. After all, Su Zipei was a fat man who had been beaten up. He was only putting on a show. Perhaps he had even borrowed the bag or bought a fake one. How would he know the origin of such an expensive bag? Even a noblewoman like her who had been married to a rich family for many years would not be able to recognize those famous brands. However, Mama Mu did not expect that. Su Zipei smiled at him and then said, That's right. The Queen of England once mentioned something similar. There are only two in the world. One is in the Queen's house, and the other is in my hands. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Su Zipei lifted the bag and told Qianqian's mother. Do you want to take a look? Is it really convenient? Qianqian's mother was flattered. Of course, Su Zipei said as she handed her purse to him. Qianqian carefully took it and flipped through it. Then Mama Mu said, Why not? It's all fake. Fake. To tell the truth, my sister wouldn't be able to afford such a bag with her status. Mama Mu interrupted. Mama Mu interrupted. How could a woman who lives in the slums and who has to deal with bedbugs afford such an expensive handbag? Don't forget where you come from before you talk about me. Su Zipei retorted softly. Are you going to tell everyone that you come from the slums too? Mama Mu's face reddened at once. If you could marry into a rich family, why can't I? Su Zipei asked in return. Or do you feel uncomfortable because I'm younger and prettier than you? Mama Mu's face turned from crimson to red. Well, which rich man did you marry, Aunt Zipei? We could visit him some other day. Mu Tongxue quickly helped her mother out of the predicament. There's no need for that since we don't know each other that well. But a few months ago, wasn't my uncle still a hooligan who owed money everywhere and never returned it? What? Do I have to ask for your opinion before I remarry? Su Zipei asked in return. I thought that the Mu family wouldn't be so arrogant after not seeing each other for so long. I didn't expect that you're still pushing me so hard. Is that how your family has been taught? The other parents watched as the two exchanged blows as if they were watching a show. Of course, the others could tell that Mama Mu had been causing trouble for Su Zipei. She was simply mocking Qianqian's background. Qianqian's mother, however, had the same temperament as Qianqian, and could not bear to see someone she liked being bullied. She quickly said, Since Madame Mu says that this is a fake bag, please tell me if you recognize it. Mama Mu was left speechless at that. Although Mama Mu had married into a rich family for many years, Papa Mu had always been strict with her. She was only responsible for taking care of her husband and children at home, and had no time to study such things. What she recognized were merely the branded ones she often used. It seems that you don't know Madame Mu. But how do you know that it's a fake bag? Zipei knows that I'm usually too concerned about my children to pay attention to such things. Then why would you mock someone else for a fake bag? Qianqian's mother challenged Mama Mu. Mama Mu stuttered, unable to answer. That was when Su Zipei smiled and stopped arguing with Mama Mu. In that very moment, Mama Mu wanted to dig a hole and hide in it, because it was too embarrassing. Mu Tongxue felt as if she had lost all face. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi looked around for Papa Mu. Mu Tongxue had said that her parents would be there. But where was Papa Mu? It was weird that Papa Mu would attend such an event for Mu Tongxue. But Mu Qiqi knew it very well. As for Mu Tongxue, she should have understood what it meant to be oppressed by force, right? Today's event was one such example. Mu Qiqi loved her aunt too much. Because of that, Su Zipei was completely calm in such an occasion, and her aura did not lose out to the others. It did not matter if she lost face or not, but she loved seeing her aunt dazzling like that. Xiao Xiao was really amazing. He could actually turn something rotten into something magical. Chapter 52. Soon the teacher entered the classroom. After exchanging greetings with the parents, other than communicating with them on how to guide their children in choosing a major and how to ease their children's nervousness, he also said something very important, and that was the guaranteed admission. The teacher's gaze was clearly on Mu Qiqi when she mentioned the words guaranteed admission. Her current results, as well as the important mathematics competition awards that she had won, were enough for her to qualify as a guaranteed student. Qiqi, it seems that the teacher has decided to recommend you, Qian whispered into her ear. I can't tell. Mu Qiqi replied. Can't you tell? With your results, it's only a matter of time before you're guaranteed a spot. No matter what, it won't be your mediocre sister's turn. When Qian said this, she deliberately raised her voice so that the mother and daughter could hear her. Mu Tongxue turned to look at Qian. There was an indescribable emotion in her eyes. But Qian stuck her tongue out at her. I'm going to piss you off if you can't get the guaranteed admission. That was the other reason Su Zipei could hold her head high in Eton. Mu Qiqi's excellent results were obvious to all. She had been suppressed before, but now, she was shining like a shining gold in Eton. On the other hand, Mu Tongxue, who had so many advantages before, could only produce mediocre results in Eton. That left Mama Mu unable to lift her head. On the other hand, Mu Tongxue was definitely inferior to Mu Qiqi in every aspect. Mommy, I'm sorry. Mu Tongxue apologized to Mama Mu insincerely. It's my fault, I've embarrassed you. We'll talk about that later. Mama Mu had suffered enough today. Su Zipei alone had already upset her, and now there was Mu Qiqi as well. It was clearly the same upbringing, but when Mu Qiqi was in the Mu family, she could be said to have done all sorts of evil deeds. But after leaving the Mu family, she actually became so outstanding. Wasn't this a harsh slap to her face? Yes, Mommy. Mu Tongxue knew that she was at a disadvantage today, so she did not want to say anything else. Soon, the whole class was discussing about the guaranteed admission and how beautiful Mu Qiqi's aunt was, completely disregarding the Mu family's mother and daughter. Mama Mu could not stand such contempt, and could only find an excuse to leave the parent-teacher conference before it was over. Qian snorted when she saw Mu Tongxue sprawled on the desk all alone. White Lotus Mu deserves it. At that, Mu Tongxue resented her mother for abandoning her in such an occasion. Mu Qiqi didn't say anything. She just held Su Zipei's right hand tightly. The relationship between them was self-evident. They were even closer than mother and daughter. After the parent-teacher conference, Mu Qiqi and Su Zipei were invited to the school office, because he wanted to discuss the recommendation with Mu Qiqi. Qiqi, based on your current results, you will definitely be able to get into Shengting University. However, you might not be able to choose your faculty. Are you willing to go? Shengting University. Mu Qiqi was stunned when she heard the name of the school. Although Su Zipei's eyes were full of anticipation, Mu Qiqi still shook her head. Teacher, I want to take the exam myself. I want to choose my own faculty. The teacher was puzzled. Are you sure? If you missed the recommendation, it might not be that safe for you to take the exam yourself. Teacher, I just want to achieve my goal through my own hard work. Mu Qiqi answered firmly. If you don't like Shengting University, where do you want to go? It's not that I don't like Shengting University. I just want to prove myself. Mu Qiqi corrected herself. I'm letting you down. Actually, I expected it. Since you have made up your mind, I won't force you. Good luck, Qiqi. Mu Qiqi nodded. When Sheng Xiao spent the whole night looking for the faculty for her, She had already decided to try her best to get into that faculty. So Mu Qiqi did not want the recommendation. When they left the teacher's office, Su Zipei asked Mu Qiqi pitifully, "What if I make a mistake? Aunt Zipei, can you trust me? Moreover, this is my own life. I will try my best to plan it well." "All right." Su Zipei nodded. No one noticed that Mu Tongxue was pretending to knock on the door, but was actually eavesdropping on them. Unexpectedly, Mu Qiqi was so confident that she wanted to get into Shengting University by herself. Did she think it was that easy? No matter what, she must get the recommendation. Not only because she wanted to get into the best university, but also because it belonged to Mu Qiqi. No matter what, Mu Qiqi and Su Zipei were in the limelight in this parent-teacher conference. Mu Tongxue was even mocked by others. Qian Qian sighed when she thought of Mu Tongxue being alone in the parent-teacher conference. "I have never seen a mother like this. She threw her daughter here as a shield when she lost face. How could she do that? You are lucky that you left the Mu family. No wonder Mu Tongxue is a psychopath. No one in the Mu family is normal. She has no sense of responsibility at all. She has been like this ever since she married into the Mu family. Her husband is strict, and she has no opinions of her own." Mu Qiqi answered Qian Qian. "She can sacrifice her daughter for her own benefit. Well, Mu Tongxue isn't having a good time in the Mu family either. Of course." Mu Qiqi thought that Mu Tongxue had to bear all the negative emotions of the family after she left the Mu family. Did Mu Tongxue think that she could become the darling of the family? Mu Qiqi understood everything. And the first thing she did after school in the evening was to text Xiao Xiao, telling him everything that happened in the parent-teacher conference today. "I've never been so excited. I feel like I'm floating when I see you shining so brightly, Aunt Zipei." Knowing the little one's pride, Sheng Xiao smiled devilishly. "Remember to repay me. I'll repay you then." Then, Mu Qiqi told Sheng Xiao about her rejection of the recommendation. "I think I'm a little silly, but I still want to rely on myself." "You have the ability." Sheng Xiao replied simply. "Xiao Xiao, I want to see you now. I feel happier than I have ever been." Mu Qiqi typed as she got out of the car. It was only then that she noticed that Sheng Xiao's car was parked outside the little mansion. Chapter 53. Xiao. Brother Xiao. At the moment, Sheng Xiao was sitting in the living room, flipping through the television as he pleased. "Wash your hands. It's almost time for dinner." Su Zipei came out of the kitchen and told Mu Qiqi, who had lunged at her, before turning to enter the kitchen. Mu Qiqi walked up to Sheng Xiao, seizing the opportunity to hold his right hand. But she let go a second later, afraid that Su Zipei would notice. "I'm going to change." Sheng Xiao gestured for her to hurry with his chin, his eyes unconsciously showing a hint of indulgence. Soon Mu Qiqi changed and went downstairs. Su Zipei had already prepared the cutlery, and Sheng Xiao sat down at the dining table. "Thank you so much, young Master Sheng. If it wasn't for you, our Mu Qiqi would have been bullied." Su Zipei thanked Sheng Xiao even as she took a seat. "Look at you. You spend money and work hard. We really don't know how to repay you." "It's fine. Mu Qiqi can pay me back in the future," Sheng Xiao replied nonchalantly. On the surface, it sounded as if he was waiting for Mu Qiqi to grow up and work. Still, only Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao knew the meaning behind his words. That was why Mu Qiqi blushed. To hide her blush, she had to bury her head in her bowl and pretend to be hungry. "This child eats slowly." Sheng Xiao tilted his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. He smiled and continued eating. After a while, Mu Qiqi finished eating and quickly said to the two of them, "I'm done eating. I'll go upstairs to study." "Young Master Sheng, please don't forgive her. You've spoiled her rotten." "It's good that she's spoiled," Sheng Xiao said with a hidden meaning. "I've told you before that I hope she can do whatever she wants in Jianchuan. That's not right. You're going to get married and have children, and you can't stay by her side forever. You've done enough for us, young Master Sheng. I have nothing else to ask for, and I'm willing to work like a horse for you in the next life." Sheng Xiao did not reply. In fact, the answer in his mind was that he did not want to work like a horse in the next life. That was too far away. All he wanted was Mu Qiqi, and nothing else. Soon, Sheng Xiao finished his meal and left. Because it was still early, he went back to Huang Yao to settle his own business first. At around 9 o'clock, he returned to the small villa. Mu Qiqi quietly left the house after receiving Sheng Xiao's message. After Mu Qiqi got into his car, Sheng Xiao drove her away from the small mansion. This time, the two of them did not go to an amusement park or a small forest. Instead, they went to the highest peak of Jianchuan to watch the night view. She could only sit in the car because it was too cold, but she was very excited to be able to overlook all of Jianchuan. Xiao Xiao. Sheng Xiao did not say a word. He simply carried Mu Qiqi and placed her on his thighs. Mu Qiqi sat on him and wrapped her arms around his neck. Neither of them said a word, as if they were enjoying the intimacy of the moment. Once you get into Shengting University's engineering faculty, I'll prepare a place to welcome you outside the campus, Sheng Xiao suddenly said after a while. You mean? Although Mu Qiqi understood, she could not believe it. So she wanted to confirm it again. I won't repeat myself. Sheng Xiao was not that patient. Is that a promise to me? Mu Qiqi mustered her courage and asked Sheng Xiao. Can I take it that way? Sheng Xiao moved closer to Mu Qiqi, so that she had no chance to escape. He stared into her eyes and said, Do you think you can still run away? I'm not running away. But do we have to live together in university? Sheng Xiao could not help laughing at Mu Qiqi's words. Mu Qiqi was head over heels for him. Live together? What's in your head all day? Mu Qiqi felt that she was being teased. She turned her face away and ignored Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao was about to let go of her, but Mu Qiqi quickly clung to him. I was wrong, all right? Xiao Xiao. I just can't believe it. I don't even dare to think about it. I want to be by your side so much, but sometimes, I feel that it's a dream that's impossible to realize. You're already on the way to hell. What's there to be afraid of? Sheng Xiao asked Mu Qiqi teasingly. You're already bad. Do you think that the outcome would be different if you hold back? Mu Qiqi thought about it and nodded. You're right. The cold wind was blowing against her face. It was bone-chilling, but Sheng Xiao's kiss made Mu Qiqi's entire body heat up. She liked Sheng Xiao so much. She was so infatuated with him that she wouldn't have any complaints, even if she had to go to hell for this moment. Soon, Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi back to the little mansion. If anyone had noticed Mu Qiqi's lips, they would have known what she had done just now. However, Mu Qiqi was not so lucky this time. She had sneaked into the house and did not notice Su Zipei standing by the kitchen door. It was only when she went upstairs that she heard the sound of the door closing downstairs. Mu Qiqi's heart raced. Could Su Zipei have seen her coming out? Mu Qiqi quickly called Sheng Xiao. Xiao Xiao. Aunt Zipei seems to have seen me coming home. Would she find out about us? Why did you come out to meet me if you're so afraid of being found out? Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi begged Sheng Xiao softly. Sheng Xiao had no choice but to tell Mu Qiqi. Go to sleep. I'll think of something. Mu Qiqi nodded. Although she was destined to have insomnia that night, she could not think of anything with her brain. Su Zipei had indeed seen Mu Qiqi carefully entering the house with her own eyes. She was shocked, and remembered what Mu Tongxue had told her about a man who often brought Mu Qiqi out, and bought her all sorts of things. Could Mu Qiqi really be hiding something from her? At that thought, Su Zipei quickly took out the diary pages from the bedside table and read through them. But she did not find anything out of the ordinary after that. Although Mu Qiqi mentioned a boy from time to time, it was just as Mu Qiqi had told Su Zipei. It was all boys in school. Still, who was Mu Qiqi meeting when she sneaked out just now? Sheng Xiao had just appeared in the afternoon, which was why it could not be him. Could Mu Qiqi really have a sugar daddy? That was impossible. Su Zipei knew that she would not be able to get anything out of Mu Qiqi, which was why she pretended that it never happened. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi was calm the next day. Xiao Xiao had told her that she must not feel guilty even if something was exposed, or it would be the same as admitting it. Morning, Aunt Zipei. Mu Qiqi appeared no different from any other day when she came out of her bedroom. Chapter 54. On the other hand, both Mu Tongxue and Mama Mu were keeping quiet after their embarrassment at the parent-teacher conference yesterday. None of them had the courage to tell Papa Mu, since Mu Tongshua's results were not presentable, and Mama Mu was humiliated at the conference. When Papa Mu asked, Mu Tongxue told him about the recommendation. After all, the teacher did not announce who the student was, and she overheard Mu Qiqi refusing the recommendation when she was outside the teacher's office. That was why Mu Tongxue hinted that Papa Mu could help her fight for the spot. Even if her grades were not the best, she had won many awards. If the teacher was not biased, it would not be too difficult for her to get the recommendation. Of course, Papa Mu had to communicate with the school first. Papa Mu nodded as he sipped his coffee. I promised to go with you to the parent-teacher conference yesterday, but I broke my promise because of work. To compensate my obedient daughter, I'll definitely help you with the recommendation. It's an honor for the Mu family. Papa Mu promised Mu Tongxue himself. He even called his secretary and asked him to make sure that Mu Tongxue got the recommendation. Mu Tongxue was secretly delighted. Thanks, Dad. In fact, everyone believed that Mu Qiqi would be the one to be recommended. If Mu Tongxue was the one who got it, she would feel that she was stealing something that belonged to Mu Qiqi. No one would know that Mu Qiqi refused the recommendation herself. After all, Mu Qiqi would be scolded for being virtuous. On the other hand, after Mu Qiqi left the house, Su Zipei quietly entered Mu Qiqi's room. She rummaged through the place where girls hid their secrets, but did not find anything suspicious. However, she saw that the sapphire hair ornament and the Christmas gloves were left on the desk. She did not pick them up. Of course, she did not have any impression of those things. Could those be the gifts from that man? Su Zipei did not move, and left Mu Qiqi's room so that she would not notice. But Mu Qiqi knew very well that if Su Zipei really saw her coming home last night, she would definitely go to her room to check on her. However, Mu Qiqi chose not to react because Sheng Xiao had already prepared a countermeasure for her. However, she might not be able to sneak out at night to meet Xiao Xiao for the next few days. In the school, the topic of guaranteed entry was still being discussed. There were many people who were eager for those places, but Mu Qiqi had already rejected them herself. Papa Mu's secretary had visited Eton 3 times, hoping that the school would fairly evaluate Mu Tongshue's recommendation. Although the teacher did not like Mu Tongxue, she still checked her personal information impartially. Indeed, she was recommended by Shengting University. The Mu family only hoped that Eton would not be biased against Mu Tongxue because of Mu Qiqi, since the academy had stopped her from entering Eton before. Papa Mu's secretary used that as an excuse to ask the school to reconsider. In the end, the school relented. Either way, the recommendation still depended on the National Education Department's review, which was why recommending Mu Tongxue now was not a big deal. The teacher recommended Mu Tongxue reluctantly, but at the same time, she had greater hopes for Mu Qiqi. She hoped that Mu Qiqi would do well. As such, the teacher gave Mu Qiqi a heads up, and Mu Tongxue was already on the list of recommended spots. Mu Qiqi was uncomfortable, but she was the one who rejected it, and she had no right to be upset. Moreover, Su Zipei noticed her going out last night, which left Mu Qiqi depressed. She did not know if she could see Xiao Xiao that night. In the evening, Mu Qiqi returned home from school, but did not see old Lin's car when she stepped out of the school gates. Mu Qiqi was about to call old Lin when she saw Sheng Xiao's call. Same place. Waiting for you. Sheng Xiao was referring to the same place where he had camped Mu Tongxue. Mu Qiqi promptly ran there and got into Sheng Xiao's car when no one was looking. Xiao Xiao, where's Uncle Lin? I've talked to your aunt. I'm taking you out for dinner tonight, Sheng Xiao told Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi was delighted to see Sheng Xiao. She thought she would not be able to sneak out at night to meet Xiao Xiao anymore. Moreover, when Sheng Xiao mentioned that he was taking Mu Qiqi out at the small mansion, Su Zipei had specifically asked him if he knew about Mu Qiqi's sapphire hair accessory. Sheng Xiao explained, it's the one she wore to the birthday party on her 18th birthday. Su Zipei thought about it and realized that it was true. Then I've misunderstood, Su Zipei murmured. Young Master Sheng, did you notice that Mu Qiqi was in contact with someone other than you? No. With that, Sheng Xiao drove away from the small mansion and headed towards Eton. And Su Zipei did notice it. Even so, Su Zipei did not suspect that it was Sheng Xiao. In fact, she hoped that Sheng Xiao would bring Mu Qiqi around more often, because that would prevent her from meeting random people. Where are we going for dinner? Mu Qiqi appeared excited. Did you know? I thought I wouldn't be able to meet you tonight. Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi to their usual spot, the revolving restaurant in the amusement park. In the VIP room, Mu Qiqi promptly sat beside Sheng Xiao. Xiao Xiao, give me a hug. Sheng Xiao reached out and placed her on his thighs. Mu Qiqi promptly wrapped her arms around his neck and refused to let go. I've worked hard all day just to hug you and absorb your energy. Sheng Xiao ignored her and continued to put food in his mouth. Mu Qiqi quickly said at that, "Don't eat. Wait for me." Sheng Xiao did not say a word. Instead, he simply cupped Mu Qiqi's head and sent the food into her mouth with a kiss. Mu Qiqi's face was burning, but she was enjoying the sweetness and ambiguity between her and Sheng Xiao at the same time. She was simply addicted. Then, Sheng Xiao leaned Mu Qiqi back on the table and kissed her until they couldn't breathe. Stroking Mu Qiqi's swollen lips, Sheng Xiao said longingly, "I wouldn't have let you go so easily if you hadn't gone to university." Mu Qiqi understood what he meant and said, "I can do it now." Chapter 55. Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao from the side, her heart overflowing with happiness at the man she liked to the marrow of her bones. "By the way, Xiao Xiao, my teacher told me that the school has given Mu Tongxue a recommendation." Sheng Xiao turned to look at her at that. "Are you sure?" "Yes." Sheng Xiao said nothing else, and focused on his meal, occasionally feeding Mu Qiqi some food he had cut from his plate. Spoiling this little thing made him feel happy all over. Although the little one was still young, and her temperament was uncertain, and her liking might just be temporary admiration, Sheng Xiao did not intend to play around. The little one was not going anywhere for the rest of her life. After dinner, Sheng Xiao went to the washroom. In fact, he had called Jing Yun and told Eaton to cancel Mu Tongshua's recommendation no matter what. Even if his Qiqi did not want it, Mu Tongxue had no right to take advantage of it. After dinner, the two leaned against each other and watched the night view of the amusement park. Sheng Xiao's exhaustion seemed to have faded away as well, and he was completely relaxed. He was a man who should be attending high-class banquets, but he seemed to prefer staying by his little one's side, because he knew that right now, he had the brightest time and the best of her life. Soon after nightfall, Mu Qiqi had to return to the small mansion. Although she could not see Sheng Xiao at night, she felt energized after the kiss just now. "Good night, Xiao Xiao." Sheng Xiao did not let her go at once, but hooked his arm around her waist and pulled her closer, before whispering seductively into her ear, "Hurry up and go to college." Mu Qiqi knew what that was, and quickly freed herself from his arms, running all the way back to the small mansion. Sheng Xiao followed her, and they stayed in the mansion for a few minutes before returning to the Sheng residence. That was why Su Zipei was even more at ease. When they reached home, Sheng Xiao found his mother sitting in his room, holding the cufflinks Mu Qiqi had made. He quickly snatched it and put it back into the box. "Since when did you learn to take things without asking, Mom? Where did you get this cheap thing? You're still treating it like a treasure." "A child gave it to me." Sheng Xiao put the cufflinks in the drawer and turned to his mother. "What's the matter? You haven't been around at night recently. Your father can't find you," Mama Sheng replied. "Eighth brother, it's time to think about your life." Sheng Xiao sat on the sofa and leaned back. "Mom, to tell you the truth, I like men." Mama Sheng was stunned when she heard that. "What nonsense are you talking about? I will definitely get married before I turn 28. You don't have to rush me anymore." Sheng Xiao answered Mama Sheng subconsciously. "Are you satisfied now?" Mama Sheng nodded in satisfaction. "That's more like it. Your father has something to discuss with you and your brothers. Pack up and go." Sheng Xiao nodded. After Mama Sheng left, he took out the cufflinks from the drawer and studied them carefully. There were piles of diamonds at home, but he just had to like such a broken toy. Perhaps he was born to like being abused. In the small villa, Su Zipei did not ask Mu Qiqi about what happened last night. Mu Qiqi also pretended that nothing happened and pretended that she did not know anything. Su Zipei wanted to ask, but she was afraid of hurting Mu Qiqi. Until 2 days later, before Mu Qiqi went to school, she took out a gift box from her back and gave it to Su Zipei. "Happy birthday, Aunt Zipei." Su Zipei looked at the box in surprise and asked Mu Qiqi, "Thank you, my Qiqi. Open it quickly. I went out late at night to choose this gift. I went to many places with Qianqian. See if you like it." After hearing Mu Qiqi's words, Su Zipei suddenly remembered that Mu Qiqi came back very late a few nights ago. Could it be that she was preparing a birthday gift for her? Was it that night 3 days ago? How did you know? Mu Qiqi pretended to be surprised. "I saw you coming home." Su Zipei was relieved, because Mu Qiqi did not go out to meet a man. She was preparing a birthday gift for her. Moreover, Mu Qiqi did not go out except to eat with Sheng Xiao. How could there be a strange man? Mu Qiqi smiled and helped Su Zipei open the gift. She saw a cherry blossom brooch and held it in her hand, unable to put it down. "Qiqi gave it to me. I would like it no matter what." Mu Qiqi felt sorry for Su Zipei, because she did not dare to take the risk and tell her about Sheng Xiao. She was afraid that her aunt would object and stop her. Apart from that, she would do anything for Su Zipei. That morning, Su Zipei was very touched and Mu Qiqi was very happy. But when they arrived at school, Mu Tongxue stood at the door of the classroom with a face full of hatred. She glared at Mu Qiqi. "I have something to say to you. Say it here." Mu Qiqi did not want to give Mu Tongxue a chance to play tricks. "Sister, are you sure you want to say it here?" Mu Tongxue's eyes were cold as if she was provoked. Mu Qiqi nodded and did not show any weakness. "Do you think we need to be so polite with each other?" "All right." Mu Tongxue turned away and appeared to be calming her emotions. Then, she suddenly asked Mu Qiqi, "You're the murderer of Grandma. How much more do you want to hurt the Mu family? It's fine if you don't want the recommendation, but why are you stopping me from getting it?" "What nonsense are you talking about?" Mu Qiqi retorted. "You dare say you didn't kill Grandma? You're a murderer. The Mu family chased you out of the family because you killed Grandma. Do you dare to admit that?" Mu Tongxue was completely hysterical when she said those words. She had probably reached the limit of her endurance and was suppressed to the limit by Mu Qiqi. The recommendation that was almost in the bag was gone just like that. If it was not Mu Qiqi's doing, what else could it be? At worst, they could just fight to the death. She was having a hard time at home anyway, and they might as well suffer together. The students crowded around Mu Tongxue because of what she said. "What are you looking at? Mu Qiqi is the murderer. She killed her own grandma. Is this your true face?" Mu Qiqi asked in return. "You're finally taking off your mask? So it turns out that the weak young miss can also yell and shout, and also look at others with a malicious gaze. She can also be angry? I thought you wouldn't lose your temper for the rest of your life. Mu Qiqi, I've had enough of you." Mu Tongxue said agitatedly. "What right do you have to take away what belongs to me? What belongs to you?" Mu Qiqi retorted. "You're too confident. I don't care. You murderer. I'll tell the whole world that you killed Grandma." Mu Tongxue was completely out of control now. She wanted to blow up the matter that Papa Mu had tried so hard to suppress, and she wanted Mu Qiqi to have no place in school. Chapter 56. However, Mu Tongxue clearly did not think about what would happen to her next. Papa Mu had paid a heavy price to keep the matter under wraps, but now that Mu Qiqi had made it public as she pleased, it was clear that she had been left helpless by Mu Qiqi's repeated counterattacks. That was why causing Grandma's death was the only move she could use against Mu Qiqi. Still, she had clearly misjudged the present situation. It was not because Mu Qiqi was afraid that Grandma Mu's death would be exposed. After all, Sheng Xiao had warned Mu Qiqi many times that the Sheng family had lawyers who could deal with Mu Tongxue. That was why Mu Qiqi did not feel any fear at all. Instead, she smiled at Mu Tongxue. "Mu Tongxue, You should prepare to collect your own corpse now that you've exposed the matter. I'm going to tell the world that you killed Grandma. Mu Tongxue insisted stubbornly. By then, more students were gathering around them, but Mu Qiqi was not fearful of being accused at all. She even smiled. You're saying that I killed Grandma? Well, I've been wanting to call the police for a long time and have them investigate the matter. I'll have Aunt Zipe call the police now. Since you want to make a big deal out of it, no one would be able to get away scot-free. With those words, Mu Qiqi whipped out her phone and called Su Zipe. Aunt Zipe, Mu Tongxue has exposed what happened to Grandma. Let's call the police. Mu Tongxue, on the other hand, was frightened when she saw that Mu Qiqi was not at all fearful, because she could feel the panic after getting into trouble. She had thought that Mu Qiqi would run away in fright, but Mu Qiqi's reaction was completely unexpected. Aunt Zipe has called the police. Mu Tongxue panicked when she saw Mu Qiqi raise her phone. Call the police then. Everyone in the family knows that you killed Grandma anyway. At those words, Mu Qiqi inched forward and glared at her sister. Do you have proof? There were only 2 of us in the room. I saw you feed Grandma the medicine with my own eyes. You said it yourself, there were only the 2 of us in the room. Your ability to pretend to be innocent is obvious to everyone. I clearly remember that when you fed the wrong medicine, your panicked expression was almost the same as now. With that, Mu Qiqi smiled at Mu Tongxue. We've already prepared a lawyer. Since you've blown things up, the lawyer will go to the Mu family later. Mu Tongxue paled when she heard that the lawyer was going to the Mu family. Since the matter has already been exposed, then, it won't be that easy to wrap things up. The whole city will know about the Mu family's scandal very soon. By that time, the shares of Mu Group will fall. I'm not in the Mu family anymore, so it doesn't matter. But what about you? Mu Tongxue stumbled and lost her footing, falling awkwardly onto the ground. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi sneered and turned to face the surrounding students. I'm sorry, everyone. It's just a family scandal. However, everyone will know about it through the news in the future. So, I won't explain any further. With that, Mu Qiqi walked out of the crowd, with Qian Qian following her not far behind. Qian Qian jogged to catch up with Mu Qiqi, and could not help asking along the way. And here I was wondering why you 2 sisters were like fire and water. So it's because of Grandma. She's framed me for too many things, and this incident is the trigger for everything. Your sister is a pervert from start to finish. Qian Qian said, expressing her own feelings. Mu Qiqi laughed coldly, and calmly sent Sheng Xiao a text message when she sat down in the classroom. Meanwhile, Mu Tongxue was dumbfounded. She realized that she had been too impulsive, and caused a disaster. What should she do now? At that very thought, she quickly called Mama Mu, her voice clearly tearing. Mommy, I've caused trouble. Mama Mu was shocked too when she heard Mu Tongxue's words. Fortunately, it was only spread within the school, and the matter was not blown out of proportion. Mama Mu thought that as long as Mu Qiqi did not pursue the matter could be suppressed before Papa Mu found out. What are you spacing out for? There's no one else but your sister can save you now. Hurry up and beg her not to blow things up. Your father would skin you alive if he finds out. Why are you so impulsive, dear? Begging Mu Qiqi? Wouldn't that be worse than killing her? Still, Mu Tongxue shuddered at the thought of Papa Mu's face. She dared not think about anything else, and promptly headed for the classroom. It was already time for class. Mu Tongxue walked to Mu Qiqi's side, and reached out to grab her arm. Sis, I was too angry just now and said something I shouldn't have. I apologize, please forgive me. Mu Qiqi nodded. Mu Qiqi freed herself from Mu Tongxue's grip, and asked her in return, didn't you say that you couldn't take it anymore? Didn't you say that I killed Grandma, and that the whole family knows? What? Now you realize that you said something you shouldn't have? Sis, I really didn't mean it. Please forgive me. Forgive? Mu Qiqi shot to her feet at that, and glared at Mu Tongxue. You're going to be in big trouble, and you're begging me for forgiveness now? However, I haven't forgotten how your little sister was able to deal fatal blows to me with every single move she made. I don't care what the Mu family wants. I don't care either. But Mu Tongxue, You keep challenging my bottom line. Do you really think that I'm still the same Muchichi you bullied and took the blame for half a year ago? I must get justice for Grandma's death. Either you admit that you killed her, or get the hell back to your seat. Don't try to frame me and apologize to me at the same time. You're so hypocritical it makes me sick. Do you understand? Mu Tongxue was really frightened this time, and did not know what to do at all. Muchichi would not budge at all. She could only hide in the washroom and call her mother. Mommy, sis won't budge. She said that she's going to get to the bottom of this. Mommy, what should I do? Don't panic. I'm coming to get you, and I'll bring you to your grandfather. He loves you the most, and he would definitely protect you. After the call, Mu Tongxue could only hide in the washroom, not daring to show herself because she had a guilty conscience. Mama Mu soon arrived at school and found Muchichi in class unscathed. In that very moment, she felt that Muchichi was a cold-blooded demon. Chapter 57. Muchichi watched as Mama Mu left with Mu Tongxue, but she did not care. She had once hoped that her mother would stand by her side and put in a good word for her, so that her father would not blame her. But Mama Mu had always stood by Mu Tongxue's side. Now, she wanted to know what tricks Mama Mu would play to protect Mu Tongxue. Now, the students of the school finally knew why the twins had fallen out with each other to such an extent. Because human lives were at stake. They blamed each other, and Muchichi was chased out of the Mu family because of that. Twins were born. From then on, the fates of the two sisters underwent an earth-shattering change. Qian looked at Muchichi after class, shaking her head. Your sister is such a pervert. She's so good at acting. No wonder you're the one chased out. That's in the past. Do you think I can tolerate her now? Muchichi snorted coldly. Qian smiled but said nothing, and gave Muchichi a thumbs up. Sheng Xiao soon read Muchichi's message, and his lips curled into a playful smile. Since Mu Tongxue was so unwittingly seeking her own death, he would certainly fulfill her wish. Wouldn't he be wasting her good intentions otherwise? Mu Tongxue had bullied Muchichi for so long, and Sheng Xiao had been waiting for this day for a long time. He had an agreement with Papa Mu that he could not reveal it. But now, if Mu Tongxue came to him on her own, and he did not seize the chance, he would be letting down her good intentions. That was why he quickly called Jing Yun, and had him call the police, and arrange for a lawyer and the media to make the Mu family pay the price. Soon, Papa Mu's secretary received a call from the police, saying that someone had reported a murder in the Mu family, and that the police were sending people to investigate the truth. Papa Mu's face fell at once. He rushed back to the Mu family without stopping, only to find that the police and the lawyer sent by Jing Yun were already waiting at the gates. Papa Mu had met the lawyer before, so he immediately told him, "You didn't abide by the contract. You said that these things wouldn't be made public. Mr. Mu, don't get angry. This has nothing to do with us. It was your daughter, Miss Mu Tongxue, who leaked the news. She said such things in front of the whole school today. Miss Muchichi has no choice but to ask us to report this to the police to prove her innocence," Mu Tongxue said. The lawyer appeared to be explaining, but in fact, he was pushing all the blame to Mu Tongxue from the start. Papa Mu's face turned red when he heard that. He was probably furious. "You can suppress the matter. Mr. Mu, you have to know what kind of school Eton is. Every student has a powerful parent behind them. Do you think they can be suppressed if the news gets out?" The lawyer asked Papa Mu. "Be good. Please blame your daughter. Actually, we didn't want to come here." The lawyer was very smart. He shirked all responsibility very cleanly. Papa Mu suppressed his anger. All he cared about was whether this incident would be blown out of proportion, and whether Mu Group would be implicated. And where was that evil girl now? How daring of him to disregard his words. Then the police asked about the incident. But Papa Mu told them, "There's no such thing. It's just a child's joke." "That won't do. What if your daughter slandered Miss Muchichi in public again? What should we do then?" The lawyer did not let it go. "If you can't cooperate, Mr. Mu, we can only send you a subpoena." The lawyer meant that he would have to go to the judge anyway. He would not let the matter go so easily. Furious, Papa Moo called Mama Moo right away. Why aren't you back yet? Bring that little bitch back. Look at what she has done. Mama Moo was trembling when she received the call. She was hiding with Moo Tongxue at Grandpa Moo's place. After school, Moo Chi-Chi got into Old Lin's car. She hugged Susie Pei when she got home. Aunt Pei, good girl. You've suffered. Susie Pei could not help sighing. Can I go out with Brother Xiao tonight? I want to know what happened to the Moo family, and how Moo Tongxue is now. Moo Chi-Chi begged. I'll come back before midnight to celebrate your birthday with you. Silly girl. I've already received your gift. You can celebrate your birthday every day. Go. Susie Pei nodded. She knew that Sheng Xiao was the only one who could help Moo Chi-Chi now. Thank you, Aunt Pei. Moo Chi-Chi called Sheng Xiao and went to the revolving restaurant in the amusement park alone to wait for him. Be a good girl and stay somewhere warm. You'll be punished severely if your hands turn cold. Sheng Xiao replied. He then hurriedly dealt with the matter at hand, so that his little one would not be worried. Moo Chi-Chi sat in front of the window of the revolving restaurant and watched the Ferris wheel turn slowly. Soon Sheng Xiao arrived. Sheng Xiao picked her up without a word and went to the VIP room, closing the door. Didn't I tell you to stay somewhere warm? I want to be the first to see you, Moo Chi-Chi quickly explained. Sheng Xiao lifted Moo Chi-Chi's chin and inhaled her fragrance out of habit. Then, he took out his phone and showed Moo Chi-Chi everything that happened when the lawyer visited the Moo family today. That's... The lawyer recorded it secretly. Sheng Xiao answered, wrapping his arms around Moo Chi-Chi. Moo Chi-Chi leaned against Sheng Xiao's chest and watched the entire conversation between the lawyer and Papa Moo. Judging from Papa Moo's attitude, Moo Tongxue would be in deep trouble. If nothing goes wrong, the Moo family would come and beg for your forgiveness. You can ask for anything you want then. No, Moo Tongxue would think of another way to escape. Moo Chi-Chi knew Moo Tongxue well. She would definitely find another way. Don't you understand, little one? You just have to watch the show no matter what Moo Tongxue wants to do. That's true. Moo Chi-Chi couldn't help smiling brightly. Xiao Xiao, can I prove my innocence if they pursue this matter? Why are you hugging and kissing me if you want to prove your innocence? Sheng Xiao put down his phone and looked at her dangerously. You're going to get even more unclean soon. And Moo Chi-Chi understood the hint. Her face reddened even more. Chapter 58. Seizing the chance, Sheng Xiao pinched her chin and kissed her deeply. Then, he let go of Moo Chi-Chi so that she could breathe freely. If it weren't for the fact that you're still a little thing, the place I've brought you to wouldn't be a playground. Sheng Xiao never hid his desire in front of Moo Chi-Chi. It was the most direct expression of a man's interest in a woman. Although Moo Chi-Chi was shy, could she swear that she didn't like Sheng Xiao when he behaved like that? Clearly, she had always been infatuated with him. Hence, Moo Chi-Chi kissed him on her own. Sheng Xiao caught her lips and teased her as he pleased. Moo Tongxue was not as happy as Moo Chi-Chi. That night, she hid in her grandfather's house because she did not have the courage to return to the Moo family. After Grandpa Moo's wife passed away, he knew that Moo Chi-Chi was chased out of the family. But he did not say anything because he had not gotten over the grief of his wife's death. Now Moo Tongxue did not dare to return home because she blamed Moo Chi-Chi. Moreover, Mama Moo kept adding fuel to the fire in front of Grandpa Moo. That was why Grandpa Moo's misunderstanding of Moo Chi-Chi deepened. It had only been a short time since they last met, but the little girl had already caused so much trouble. Still, could the great Moo family not be able to do anything to a little girl? Soon, Papa Moo arrived at his father's house. He asked to see him and bring his wife and daughter with him. Grandpa Moo stood in the living room, leaning on his walking stick. He straightened his back and said to his son, Tongxue has told me everything. Why don't you think of a way to shut her up? Why are you making things difficult for Tongxue? She wouldn't have said anything wrong if Moo Chi-Chi didn't bully her in school. In the end, you have to take responsibility as a father. Dad, Papa Moo called out helplessly. Tongxue is the young lady of the Moo family now. You only have one daughter. Why aren't you doting on her? Why are you scolding her all the time? Haven't you let Moo Chi-Chi bully her enough? If you don't treat Tangxue well in the future, you should be prepared to hand over the management of Mu Group to your brothers. Dad, I'll definitely change. Papa Mu quickly lowered his head and admitted his mistake. As for Mu Qiqi, she is an outsider now that she has left the Mu family. As Mu Tangshua's father, you should stand on her side. How could you let an outsider benefit? Papa Mu was implying that whatever Mu Tangxue did wrong, it was all Mu Qiqi's fault. Because his family would never be in the wrong. Papa Mu understood what Grandpa Mu meant. He even promised that he would watch his words from now on. He would never hit or scold Mu Tangxue again. Also, why do you need to be polite when dealing with outsiders? Grandpa Mu hated Mu Qiqi because his beloved wife was killed by Mu Qiqi. At least in his stubborn mind, he preferred to believe in Mu Tangxue, whom his wife loved since she was young. Mu Qiqi leaving the Mu family and going against them only proved that Mu Qiqi was an ingrate through and through. She did not deserve to be treated kindly by the Mu family at all. That was why he told Papa Mu directly, "You don't have to be polite with outsiders. There's no need for me to teach you how to deal with a child, right? There's no need for that, Dad. Then bring your wife and daughter home. I'll hold you responsible if Mu Group's shares drop because of Mu Qiqi." Papa Mu could not disobey Grandpa Mu. He could only bring Mu Tangxue and Mama Mu home with a dark face. Although he did not scold them verbally, he gave them the best warning. If you go out and cause trouble again, I don't care if you are hiding in Dad's house or not. You will be kicked out of the house just like Mu Qiqi. I'll let you go this time. But there won't be a next time. Mu Tangshue's face was pale. Fortunately, Papa Mu did not do anything. Mama Mu protected her daughter. After they entered the room, she told Mu Tangxue, "It's all right, Shuer. Grandpa helped us." "Mommy, I really hate my sister. Why is she always haunting me? Why does she always snatch everything from me?" Mu Tangxue hugged Mama Mu and sobbed in her arms. She was scared out of her wits today. Papa Mu would have attacked her if Grandpa Mu was not there. Mama Mu was full of resentment towards Mu Qiqi. Since she had left the Mu family, she should not go against the Mu family. Otherwise, everyone would suffer. "Don't be afraid, Shuer. Mommy will think of a way for you." Now the Mu family was the passive party, and Mu Qiqi wanted to get to the bottom of the matter. That was why Papa Mu had to find Mu Qiqi, so that the Mu family's shares would not be affected. Whether it was through threats, manipulations, or other means, he would not let a little girl like Mu Qiqi turn the world upside down. Therefore, when Mama Mu returned to her room, Papa Mu suddenly asked her, "Mu Qiqi, are you depending on your sister now?" "Yes." Mama Mu nodded. "What about Zipei? Perhaps she would learn to be obedient if she has no one to depend on." Papa Mu did not say what he was going to do, but it was clear that he was going to do something to Zipei. However, the Mu family did not know that they were not only dealing with Mu Qiqi and Zipei. Sheng Xiao was also behind them. That night, as usual, Mu Qiqi stayed with Sheng Xiao until late at night before returning to the little mansion. Su Zipei was worried about the Mu family's reaction. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi showed Su Zipei the recording Xiao Xiao had given her as a sign of completion. Su Zipei had been worried that the Mu family would play dirty against Mu Qiqi again. After all, Mu Qiqi was just a child, and the Mu family were all on Mu Tangshue's side. "Qiqi, I have a feeling that the Mu family would be fooled by Mu Tangshue's tears, unless you could prove that Mu Tangxue was the one who killed your grandmother. Think about it. The whole family loves Mu Tangxue and hates you. Now that you've blown things up, the Mu family would hate you even more. Aunt Zipei, I'm not worried at all that the Mu family would do anything to me. I have you and brother Xiao now." Mu Qiqi told Su Zipei determinedly. "You know that Mu Tangxue was the one who started so many incidents. This time, I won't let her get away with it so easily no matter what." Chapter 59. Aunt Zipei, brother Xiao wouldn't abandon us. Mu Qiqi told Su Zipei confidently. She was completely unaware that Papa Mu had made Su Zipei a target. Papa Mu had learned from Mama Mu about Su Zipei's daily schedule and where she would go for groceries. That was why he had arranged for someone to stalk and harass Su Zipei. His methods were unorthodox, but they were usually enough to deal with women. Old Lin was there to fetch Muchichi to school. Moreover, Mama Mu had tried to snatch Muchichi away before, which was why Old Lin was very guarded against such things. That was why it was not easy for Papa Mu to do anything to Muchichi. Muchichi went to school the next day. When she arrived, she heard from her classmates that Papa Mu had personally sent Mu Tongxue to school, and was now in the teacher's office. Muchichi had already guessed that Mu Tongxue could escape Papa Mu's scolding. They were a family now, and Papa Mu would only side with Mu Tongxue no matter what she did. Holding her phone, Muchichi thought about her aunt and Sheng Xiao. At the moment, it was her entire world, and both worlds could collapse at any moment. But so what? As expected, Muchichi was called into the teacher's office again. But this time, Papa Mu was not as arrogant and cold as before. Chichi, I've discussed it with your father. It wouldn't be good for both you and Tongxue to blow up the matter regarding your grandmother. That's why we think it's best to minimize the problem. The teacher adjusted her spectacles and told Muchichi, "You're right, Chichi. Tongxue didn't mean it, and we shouldn't bring it up now that it's over. You and Tongxue are about to take your exams, and it's better to focus on preparing for them." Papa Mu agreed with the teacher. "I really want to focus on my exams, but Mu Tongxue wouldn't let it go. If I let her do it, who's going to care if she blabbers again?" Muchichi said stiffly. "Moreover, since it's legal proceedings and the police have been called, let's do as they say. It's fine if you believe Mu Tongxue. I'll let the police investigate. Your grandmother has passed away for so long. There's no need to pursue this matter any further. You were chased out by your own parents, and you say you won't pursue the matter? That's too easy," Muchichi insisted. "All these years, you've always sided with Mu Tongxue, and never treated me fairly. If that's the case, I'll find justice myself." Chichi stopped fooling around. The teacher was getting anxious. "Your exam is more important now. It's fine, teacher. Since she wants fairness, let her pursue it. As long as she doesn't regret it, it's fine. I'll be troubling you to take care of our Tang Shui." With that, Papa Mu did not continue the discussion with Muchichi. He was not here to discuss it with Muchichi anyway. Therefore he got up and left the school. Then, the teacher looked at Muchichi and couldn't help sighing. "Chichi, don't get your life wrong. The most important thing for you now is to get into an important school and not compete with Mu Tongxue in those aspects. Teacher, you're not the one who's being framed, but your parents clearly trust Mu Tongxue more than you do. Have you ever thought that they wouldn't stand on your side? If you go to court, wouldn't they stand by Mu Tongshue's side and accuse you? A daughter who was chased out was abandoned like an old shoe. Don't you get it? Even if you prove your innocence, it would mean nothing to your parents, because they adore Mu Tongxue more. They would tolerate her no matter how many wrongs she has done. You would always lose when it comes to your parents. You have to work hard and be more useful than Mu Tongxue in the future. You would create more value than Mu Tongxue, and only then would your parents truly regret it. I really want to ask why there are such parents in this world when I see you like this. But there are such parents in this world. Didn't you see the news? There are mothers who would dismember their daughters into dozens of pieces. What's more, they would abandon you." At those words, her teacher put a hand on Muchichi's shoulder and told her, "Listen to me. Teach Mu Tongxue a lesson while your parents can still negotiate. Don't overdo it and keep a low profile. There are still many chances in the future. You're an adult now, Chichi." Muchichi was moved by her teacher's words. She knew that her teacher was truly thinking for her own good, and that if she continued to argue with Mu Tongxue about the culprit, both of them would suffer in the end. Moreover, the Mu family might come up with more devious tricks to deal with her and her aunt. Still, she was very unwilling to accept the fact that Mu Tongxue had accused her of her grandmother's murder in front of the entire school. Was there really no way to find evidence for this matter? Muchichi had many thoughts on that day, especially when she saw Mu Tongxue. Their eyes met, and the hatred between them was so obvious that even bystanders could feel it. Still, Mu Tongxue did not bother Muchichi that day, and the two acted as if the other did not exist. Still, when Muchichi returned home from school, she noticed that her aunt's expression was not good. Aunt Zipe, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well? No, you must be seeing things. Su Zipe quickly explained, touching her face. What's with the scratch on the back of your hand? Mu Chichi quickly asked, grabbing Su Zipe's hand. Su Zipe sighed, and eventually told Mu Chichi about being stalked and harassed today. Mu Chichi knew whose masterpiece it was. Or rather, everyone knew it. It was just a warning from the Mu family. I'm sorry, Aunt Zipe. You have to go through all this because of me. Su Zipe patted Mu Chichi on the shoulder and comforted her. It's fine, Aunt Zipe. Just be careful when you go out. Unable to hold back, Mu Chichi whipped out her phone and dialed Sheng Xiao's number. Brother Xiao, I want to see you. Sheng Xiao could hear the aggrieved tone in Mu Chichi's voice over the phone, and promptly told everyone in the meeting. The meeting is over for today. We'll continue tomorrow. Everyone looked at each other, but none of them could do anything about the crown prince, and could only watch as he rose and left the meeting room. It would be weird if he was in the mood for a meeting when his little one was being bullied. Therefore, Sheng Xiao drove straight to the little mansion. Meanwhile, Mu Chichi and Su Zipe were sitting in the living room, both of them looking terrible. What is it? Sheng Xiao asked, holding back the urge to grab the little one and give her a spanking. What happened? Xiao. Brother Xiao. I don't want to pursue the matter of the murderer anymore. I don't have the ability to retaliate, and all I can do now is cause Aunt Zipe pain. That is why I agreed to the Mu family's suggestion to minimize the problem. But I have one request. Are you sure? Sheng Xiao asked in return. When I grow up and have the ability, I will make the Mu family regret what they did today. And now, my only request is to get Mu Tongxue out of my sight. Brother Xiao, help me become strong. I beg you. Chapter 60. Come out. Sheng Xiao did not say anything else, but ordered Mu Chichi. Su Zipe knew that Mu Chichi's emotions were unstable right now, and she trusted Sheng Xiao. That was why she let Mu Chichi follow him. He would definitely be able to comfort her. So Su Zipe pushed Mu Chichi's shoulder and told her, Go. Talk to young Master Sheng. Mu Chichi got up from Su Zipe's side and followed Sheng Xiao. They got into Sheng Xiao's sports car one after the other, and soon the car left the little mansion. It was getting late, and the street lights were already lit up on both sides of the road. Sheng Xiao brought Mu Chichi to the revolving restaurant, and when they entered the VIP room, he pressed her down on the wooden table and glared at her. Don't be Sheng Xiao's woman if you show such a pitiful expression. Mu Chichi was stunned. If you give in so easily, would you agree to anyone who threatens you to leave me in the future? I'm not. Mu Chichi quickly denied. Look at me. Sheng Xiao held Mu Chichi's chin. Say it again. You're not. That's different. Mu Chichi answered firmly. Sheng Xiao let go of Mu Chichi's hands and straightened. Is that so? But I don't really believe it now. In that instant, Mu Chichi mustered her courage out of nowhere and suddenly wrapped her legs around Sheng Xiao's narrow waist to stop him from leaving. I won't give up on you even if I die, Xiao Xiao. Sheng Xiao was afraid that Mu Chichi would be so easily swayed at such a young age. After all, she was the one who dragged her into hell. I won't. You have to believe me. I won't. Mu Chichi repeated I won't a few times. She was also very emotional. Don't doubt my feelings for you. I'll be sad if you do. Sheng Xiao picked Mu Chichi up and made her sit on him. Then he stared at her little face and asked for a kiss. They kissed for a long time. So long that Mu Chichi could clearly feel her lips swollen. But the man did not stop and did not let her go. His warm hand even reached out to touch a certain part of her chest. Mu Chichi blushed immediately. The strange feeling made her flinch. You are not allowed to escape. This is your punishment. Mu Chichi did not dare to move. She opened her eyes and looked at the handsome face in front of her. Actually, it did not feel bad, but she was very shy. Xiao Xiao, promise me. Aunt Zipe was followed by the Mu family today. I can't protect her now. I'm worried. Are you going to suffer this loss for nothing? Sheng Xiao squinted at her and asked teasingly. It's not a free meal. Just as you said, I can ask for many things. Mu Chichi said seriously. Xiao Xiao, there's still a long way to go. In the end, What was the reason for his anger? It was nothing more than the little thing suffering a loss. I don't care anymore. Sheng Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Although he was not satisfied with the sex just now, he said, "Let's go and take a look at the houses near Shengting University. When the time comes, decorate them according to the style you like. But there's still half a year." Mu Qiqi felt that this man was very anxious. Half a year will pass in the blink of an eye. Moreover, didn't you just beg me to make you stronger? How much free time do you think you will have after you have all kinds of training classes? Sheng Xiao asked. He lifted her chin and said to her dangerously, "You probably don't know how much I want to eat you up right now. Are you so sure that I can get into Shengting University? I know you better than you do," Sheng Xiao said, and put Mu Qiqi down from his arms. If he kept hugging her, he could not guarantee that he would not do something terrible to her. Mu Qiqi took the opportunity to sit opposite Sheng Xiao. She reached out and touched her thin lips. "I've bitten them. You've taken advantage of me." Mu Qiqi lowered her head when she remembered that they still had half a year to live together. After a while she said to Sheng Xiao, "Why don't we stay in a hotel tonight?" "Mu Qiqi, do you know what you're talking about?" Sheng Xiao asked her coldly. "It's just a matter of time anyway. I can. Don't regret it." Did Sheng Xiao mean that he had agreed? Mu Qiqi thought that she could just go home in the middle of the night. Anyway, Su Zipei was not worried about her staying with Sheng Xiao. But she did not know that the safest and most trusted person was actually the most dangerous. Sheng Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi playfully. Did this little one make such a suggestion because she was still young and naive? Or did she really like him that much? After dinner, Sheng Xiao left with Mu Qiqi, but he did not bring her to a hotel. Instead, he brought her back to the small mansion. "Xiao Xiao, go upstairs and sleep. I promise you what you said." Sheng Xiao pushed her from behind. Then, he whispered in her ear when Su Zipei was not paying attention. "If you say something so casual to others in the future, I swear, I've only been with you," Mu Qiqi quickly explained. "You want to give me your body now? Little one." Before Mu Qiqi could say anything, Sheng Xiao had already let her go, and let her go upstairs to rest. Mu Qiqi wondered if she had made Xiao Xiao think that she was being too casual. But that was not what she meant. So, when she returned to her room, she immediately texted Sheng Xiao. "Xiao Xiao, I'm not like that to everyone. I'm only with you. I think I can do anything for you." Sheng Xiao was touched when he read the message. He knew that he had a girl in her best years, and most of the feelings he had back then were unwavering. So Sheng Xiao replied directly, "Do you dare to do that to anyone?" Mu Qiqi laughed when she read the reply. Su Zipei knocked on the door and entered Mu Qiqi's room. "What did young Master Sheng say?" "Aunt Zipei, Brother Xiao agrees with what I'm doing. I won't fight Mu Tongxue to the end this time, but I will put forward some conditions for the Mu family." Mu Qiqi replied, "That's how it should be." Su Zipei nodded. "Then rest well tonight. But what did young Master Sheng bring you to eat? Your mouth is so swollen. It's spicy." Mu Qiqi quickly cooperated. "Aunt Zipei, can you help me find some medicine?" "Qiqi, it's almost time for your college entrance exam. You must do your best." Mu Qiqi knew what Su Zipei was looking forward to, and Sheng Xiao agreed to teach her all sorts of lessons. She must train herself to be the strongest she could be. Not only that, she must be brave. Chapter 61. Having decided to minimize the problem, Mu Qiqi had Su Zipei contact the Mu family and express her thoughts. But she had a request. Although Papa Mu was angry, at least Mu Qiqi was willing to give in. Let's see how big her appetite was. When Mama Mu knew that Mu Qiqi had a request, she tried to persuade Mu Tongxue. "Shui, no matter what request your sister makes, you must agree to it. Don't go against your father. There are only a few months left before the National College entrance examination. I hope that you can behave yourself until you get into a top university." "Mommy, I am not confident that I can get into Shengting University. And with my current results, I might not be able to get into Shengting University," Mu Tongxue explained. "Shui, I had a good talk with your father last night. You are the daughter of the Mu family, and everything in the Mu family belongs to you from now on. That is why you really don't have to go against Mu Chichi everywhere. You would lose your father's trust if you beat her, and that would not be worth it. Most importantly, your father will bring you to all kinds of banquets soon. You will meet a lot of talented young men. You are not in the same class as Mu Chichi. You must remember that you are degrading yourself by going against her. Do you understand? Yes, Mommy. Also, we can do something about the National College entrance examination. Mu Chichi's results were stable, and she was always one of the best. If Mu Chichi performed well during the National College entrance examination, she would bribe the invigilator for Mu Tongxue. Then, she would change Mu Chichi's name into Mu Tongxue's when they collect the exam papers. Let the two of them swap places. That way, Mu Tongxue would have a 90% chance of getting into Shengting University. Of course, Mama Mu only had a rough idea. She had not decided whether she would use it or not. So, she did not tell Mu Tongxue and the others. Let's see what Mu Chichi wants tomorrow. On the other hand, Sheng Xiao had decided to be with Mu Chichi after half a year. So he had to start planning to move out of the Sheng family. So he told Mama Sheng about his idea. Mama Sheng was reluctant. You don't want to live in such a big mansion. Why do you want to move out? Mom, when will you have a daughter-in-law when you go home every day? Sheng Xiao asked. When Mama Sheng heard that, she felt that it made sense. It's fine if you want to move out, but I have to help you choose and decorate the house. As you wish. Sheng Xiao pushed Mama Sheng out of the door. I'll wait for your news. Then, Sheng Xiao returned to the sofa, holding the ugly cufflinks that Mu Chichi had given him. For such a small thing, he had done everything he could and could do. He had thought of all the things that he shouldn't have done and thought of. But even if he was not accepted by everyone, he was determined to have that adorable little thing. Nonetheless, Mu Chichi did not sleep well that night. She dreamed that Mu Tongxue had come to snatch Xiao Xiao away from her. Because of that, Mu Chichi woke up in the middle of the night. She sat on the bed and kept calling Sheng Xiao's name. It was 3 in the morning. Mu Chichi did not want to disturb his rest, but still sent him a message. Xiao Xiao, could you not recognize me in Mu Tongxue? I had a dream just now. Mu Tongxue pretended to be me and snatched you away. Of course, there was no reply on the other side of the phone. But about 40 minutes later, Sheng Xiao suddenly replied. Come downstairs. Mu Chichi sat up on the bed and looked out of the window. When she saw Sheng Xiao's car downstairs, she quickly rushed out of the door. Did I wake you up? Sheng Xiao hugged her under the moonlight. Do you think that everyone in the world has the same IQ as you? I didn't want to have such a dream. Sheng Xiao got into the car with Mu Chichi. Then, he let her straddle him and lay on his chest. Sleep. Here? Mu Chichi exclaimed in surprise. You don't want to? I do. I do. Mu Chichi quickly answered. Xiao Xiao, tell me the truth. How did you distinguish me from Mu Tongxue? If I had a twin brother, would you not be able to recognize me? Sheng Xiao asked her in return. How is that possible? Everyone has their own unique smell. I couldn't have mistaken you for someone else. Then why are you asking me? Mu Chichi thought about it and came up with a compromise. Why don't I get a tattoo? That way, you wouldn't mistake me for someone else. I'll tattoo your name on my chest. This time, Sheng Xiao did not say anything. In fact, Mu Chichi mentioned something that interested him. Mu Chichi's words would fully satisfy a man's possessiveness. Still, wouldn't tattooing her name on her chest be the same as announcing it to the world? Moreover, there was no beauty to it. At that thought, Sheng Xiao certainly felt that it was time to change Mu Chichi's image. That was why, while Mu Chichi was asleep, Sheng Xiao reached out to stroke Mu Chichi's inky hair, while thinking about how to make her tattoo look good. And where should he tattoo it? What an irresistible little thing. Naturally, Mu Chichi could not keep sleeping on Sheng Xiao's body. At 6 in the morning, before Su Zipei woke up, Mu Chichi hurried home. Before she left, Sheng Xiao had told her many things to take note of about her request to Papa Mu. Since it was Mu Chichi's choice, he would respect the little one even if he did not agree, and did not like to force her. Susie Pei was completely unaware that Mu Chi-Chi was spending the night outside. After waking up, she made breakfast for Mu Chi-Chi and woke her up for school. Mu Chi-Chi was in high spirits. With Sheng Zhao's company, she unknowingly endured the pain the Mu family had inflicted on her. After breakfast, Mu Chi-Chi was escorted by old Lin to Eton. Meanwhile, Papa Mu's car was already waiting outside Eton's gates. Mu Chi-Chi got into Papa Mu's car and told him, "Aunt Zipe has told you that I agreed to resolve this matter. But that doesn't mean I'll let Mu Tongxue go. You have to agree to my conditions if you want me to resolve this matter once and for all." "You first," Papa Mu told Mu Chi-Chi. "First, Mu Tongxue has to change classes. I don't want to see her acting in front of me all day." "All right," Papa Mu nodded. "Second, if Mu Tongxue bothers me again, the Mu family is not to interfere when I seek revenge on her. You have to sign an agreement with me." "All right," Papa Mu nodded again. Chapter 62. Papa Mu couldn't help chuckling coldly at Mu Chi-Chi's words. "Chi-Chi, you're still a child. Why do you have so many tricks up your sleeve? You've really changed my opinion. Just tell me, do you agree or not? I don't want to talk about other things." Mu Chi-Chi did not want to talk to Papa Mu anymore. No, not even a word more than that. "It's fine if you want Mu Tongxue to apologize. But slapping herself? Is that necessary?" "It is necessary," Mu Chi-Chi said firmly. "I want her to remember not to mess with me, because she would pay the price sooner or later." Papa Mu was silent for a few seconds. Then he nodded. "I promise you. But you have to promise me that you won't tell anyone about this from now on. I don't want the media to know about it. Don't worry about that. I'm not as untrustworthy as others." With that, Mu Chi-Chi got out of Papa Mu's car. But before she left, she reminded him, "Remember to slap yourself to apologize." "I know." Papa Mu had no choice but to nod. After all, it was his priority to appease Mu Chi-Chi. Mu Tongxue was the one who caused the trouble. Hence, she should be taught a lesson to remind her not to say anything in the future. "Then I'll wait for her apology." With that, Mu Chi-Chi shouldered her backpack and entered Eton's main gate. Meanwhile, Papa Mu stared at Mu Chi-Chi's back with a meaningful look. Then he told his driver, "Get Mu Tongxue out." "Sir, are you really going to let Miss Mu Tongxue in front of the whole school?" "What else? After all, it's only in school. It's good for her to be taught a lesson. If she were to be schemed against by others in the future in the business world, she would have to break her teeth and swallow the consequences. Winner takes all. This has been the case since ancient times." Papa Mu replied. In fact, as long as Mu Tongxue was not involved in Mu Group, he would not care if Mu Tongxue was wronged. Soon Mu Tongxue left the school gate, her face pale. She got into her father's car. "Dad, you were looking for me? I've talked to your sister just now. She's willing to keep the peace. But she has a few conditions and all of them are against you." Mu Tongxue knew that Mu Chi-Chi would definitely teach her a lesson now that she had the chance. "Dad, just say it. I'm fine. First, she wants you to transfer to another class. Second, she wants you to never appear in front of her again and never provoke her. Third, she wants you to slap yourself in the face and apologize to her in front of everyone." Mu Tongxue could already guess Papa Mu's answer after hearing his nonchalant words. He would definitely agree to Mu Chi-Chi. "Tongxue, I know it. But I have no choice. You are Daddy's darling. You will definitely help Daddy solve this problem, right? Mu Group will to you." She looked at her. "Dad, Mu Tongxue Mu. 2. That's good. I'll wait for your good news." Mu Tongxue was upset, but she could not do anything about it. Apart from hating Mu Chi-Chi, her father was now added to her list of enemies. Mu Chi-Chi always had someone to take the blame for her when she was still around. That was why she never knew that Papa Mu would treat his own flesh and blood like this. No wonder Mu Chi-Chi did not want to come back. But she would not be as weak as Mu Chi-Chi. She would not leave the Mu family, because she would get everything from the Mu family in the end. Then, She would chase all the people she hated away. She would also chase Mu Chichi out of the country and never let her in again. Wasn't it just a slap and an apology? Who wouldn't? After returning to the classroom, Mu Tongxue walked up to Mu Chichi. Before Mu Chichi could react, she suddenly slapped herself and apologized to Mu Chichi. Sister, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have said something like that. Please forgive me. Didn't you say that I killed Grandma? Mu Chichi turned around and asked Mu Tongxue. I was just angry. That's why I said it. I'm innocent. Please forgive me. I won't say anything like that again. Qian Qian's eyes widened when she saw Mu Tongxue suddenly apologizing to Mu Chichi. She did not expect to see such a scene. What a long time to be alive. Speak louder. I can't hear you. Mu Chichi demanded. Mu Tongxue slapped herself again, this time with an even louder voice. Sister, please forgive me. It's my fault for talking nonsense and causing you to be misunderstood by everyone. You didn't kill Grandma. I've wronged you. What? This time the whole class heard it. Then he sighed. Mu Chichi was finally satisfied. She stood up and said to Mu Tongxue, if you provoke me again, I can be even more ruthless. It's not a big deal. I'm sorry, sister. Get out of my sight. Mu Tongxue did not meet anyone's gaze. She lowered her head and returned to her seat. Soon, the teacher came in and announced that Mu Tongxue would be transferred to Class 5. She was told to pack her things and personally escorted her out. White Lotus Mu is finally gone. It feels like the air in the classroom is so fresh now. Qian Qian stretched lazily. She was very happy. Chi-Chi, how did you make that White Lotus apologize to you? It's nothing special. It's just a self-inflicted wound to kill 1,000 enemies. Mu Chichi replied. And do you think she could stop her scheming mind? I humiliated her today. In the future, she would only come at me with more vicious methods. It's just that now is not the right time. It's really complicated between you sisters. Still, it's good that she's transferred. At least out of sight, out of mind, right? Xiao Xiao had said that there would be many classes waiting for her. That was why she did not have the time to entertain Mu Tongxue. She had said that she must become stronger. She would never let the Mu family step over her. Once the bell rang, Mu Chichi headed out of the classroom. Perhaps the news of Mu Tongxue slapping Mu Chichi as an apology had spread. The other students were now looking at Mu Chichi strangely. Still, she did not care. Mu Chichi pretended not to see Mama Mu, who had come to pick Mu Tongxue up at the school gates. They brushed past each other. Chapter 63. After that, Mu Chichi got into Old Lin's car and returned to the little mansion. The foreign teacher was already there. Xiao Xiao was a man of his word. Su Zipei said to her, Chi-Chi, your grades are good enough. You still have to go through training after school. Can you handle it? Aunt Zipei, I have to be good at everything to be of my greatest value. Mu Chichi replied. All right. Young Master Sheng will come to see you later. He said that he's taking you out for dinner. Mu Chichi couldn't help chuckling at Su Zipei's words. Xiao Xiao was getting better at using his position for personal gain. Recently, he had taken her out to do bad things under the pretext of advising her. Mu Chichi didn't think much about it. She returned to her room to change her clothes and went to the study. Aside from studying, there was also music, chess, calligraphy and high-class etiquette. Mu Chichi didn't want to lose her socialite temperament after leaving the Mu family and losing that environment. In fact, she didn't want Sheng Xiao to be a joke in the future. After an hour of wine lessons, Mu Chichi sent her teacher downstairs. She found Sheng Xiao sitting in the living room, looking as if he was in a painting. Chi-Chi, what are you looking at? Young Master Sheng has been waiting for you. Su Zipei quickly said. He's so busy. Don't keep wasting his time. I'll come down right after I change. No need. Sheng Xiao closed the high school textbook he was flipping through and gestured with his eyes for Mu Chichi to leave. Mu Chichi nodded and followed behind him. Once Mu Chichi got into the car, Sheng Xiao put his arm around her neck and kissed her on the lips. Xiao Xiao, I'm taking you to change your image today. Sheng Xiao drove Muqiqi to a high-class image management center. To avoid being recognized, Sheng Xiao purposely wore a pair of black glasses to hide his dangerous aura, making him look a little more refined. Then, Sheng Xiao discussed with the stylist what style he should give Muqiqi. She was still a high school student after all, and the stylist suggested that Muqiqi should look befitting of her status. That was why the stylist gave her a beautiful medium short haircut and dyed it maroon, before slightly perming the ends of her hair. In the process, the stylist kept praising Sheng Xiao. I've never seen such a dedicated brother. If he wasn't her brother, could he be her boyfriend? Of course, Muqiqi would never reveal their relationship. She simply sat quietly and peeked at Sheng Xiao through the mirror. What was he drawing? 2 hours later, a brand new Muqiqi appeared before Sheng Xiao. Sir, you have good taste. I have to say, this style really suits your sister. The stylist finished and applied some lipstick on Muqiqi's lips. Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao stared at Muqiqi's thin, tender lips, reluctant to look away for some time. Xiao. Brother, how is it? Sheng Xiao withdrew his gaze and nodded. Not bad. Muqiqi liked the flamboyant smell too, because it matched Sheng Xiao's temperament very well. Then they left the image management center together. But before they reached the parking lot, Sheng Xiao hugged Muqiqi and pressed her against a dark corner, kissing her uncontrollably. Ugh! Muqiqi was startled and quickly responded. It was only when both of them could not breathe that Sheng Xiao let go of Muqiqi and led her to the sports car. I couldn't bring you to the Sheng family's designer shop because I can't expose my identity. Sheng Xiao explained. It's fine. It's good enough here. Muqiqi replied. But why are we in such a hurry? Do you want to see me embarrass myself? Sheng Xiao said quickly. Muqiqi did not understand what he meant at first, and only blushed when her gaze fell below. She did not expect that the man would lose control like that, after just one kiss. After returning to the car, Sheng Xiao closed his eyes and calmed himself for a few seconds before bringing Muqiqi to the next place. Seeing that it was already late, Muqiqi said, Why don't we go another day? I want to see the effect now. Muqiqi had no idea where Sheng Xiao was taking her. She could only stay where she was. Then, Sheng Xiao brought her to a quiet and elegant place. It was a small courtyard that was decorated in a Japanese style. Soon, a woman with a tattoo on her arm came out. She smiled when she saw Sheng Xiao and Muqiqi. You two must be my special guests today, right? I heard that you are the best tattoo artist in Jianchuan, so I made an appointment to come here. I know. That's why I'm waiting for you too. But I have a question. What's your relationship with me? You should know that a tattoo is something that will last for a lifetime. It's very painful to wash it off. I've had many guests here. They would get the tattoo and wash it after that. So, I hope you two can be careful and avoid physical pain. The female tattoo artist in her 30s asked them. Brother and sister. Muqiqi replied. Lovers, Sheng Xiao replied. Muqiqi and the tattoo artist were stunned when they heard the word lovers. Little girl, are you still a student? She's my possession, Sheng Xiao replied. The tattoo artist smiled. She was smart enough not to ask further. Since they were high-class guests, she just needed to take care of them. What kind of tattoo do you want? Where do you want it? Sheng Xiao gave the tattoo artist the drawing he had just drawn. This is the English abbreviation of our names. You just need to make a sample according to the size I gave you. She had to admit that Sheng Xiao's English handwriting was really beautiful. Moreover, it was just a normal size. Muqiqi did not have to suffer much. Then where should I tattoo? Sheng Xiao walked to Muqiqi. He used his index finger to lift the hair on Muqiqi's right ear. He looked at her earlobe and said, Here. It was tattooed on the edge of her earlobe. It was like wearing a ring earring. It was not very eye-catching, but it was very unique. It's so special. The tattoo artist nodded. She could not help but admire Sheng Xiao's suggestion. It looked like a stamp. This kind of naked possessiveness really gave people goosebumps. But it was also very enviable. What about you, sir? Sheng Xiao let go of Muqiqi. Then he turned around and pointed at his left collarbone. Here. It could be hidden with a shirt. It was very convenient. But as long as he thought about it, he would be able to touch it. It was good. Xiao Xiao, you want it too? Mu Qiqi was shocked. Why? You don't want to use your name? Sheng Xiao looked at her dangerously. Chapter 64. Since the two of you have decided, please enter our workshop. The tattoo artist said to the two. Little girls, don't be afraid. Your location is on your earlobe, and the area of the tattoo isn't big, so it won't hurt. Don't worry. Mu Qiqi grabbed Sheng Xiao's hand. Her palms were already sweating. Sheng Xiao patted her head with his other hand and snorted. I'm here. What are you afraid of? I'm just nervous. Mu Qiqi replied. I'm so nervous. But at the same time, she was very excited. There would be an unbreakable connection between her and Sheng Xiao, and there would be a strong sense of belonging in her heart. She was Sheng Xiao's, and Sheng Xiao belonged to her alone. It was a private property marked with his name. Then the two of them entered the tattoo studio. At this time, the tattoo artist said to the two of them, please sit down. Moreover, tattooing each other's names on each other's body is like exchanging rings. I don't know if you feel this way. It's very sweet. Under the soft light, Mu Qiqi stole a glance at Sheng Xiao. Did Xiao Xiao feel that way too? Was he happy? Soon, the tattoo artist had finished drawing the tattoo. Then, she made a pattern for Mu Qiqi according to Sheng Xiao's request. Because it was just a delicate English letter, no one could understand the meaning behind it. If Mu Qiqi didn't want others to see it, she could just wear a slightly bigger earring to cover it up. It was very convenient. Still, she did not intend to cover it up since she had already gotten it. Because others might not know. But she knew very well that it was Sheng Xiao's English name. Following that, the tattooist disinfected and applied the needle. For them, a small picture like this could be done in less than 10 minutes. Mu Qiqi did not dare to look at her earlobe, and could only look at Sheng Xiao's body. In no time at all, exquisite letters were tattooed on her earlobe. A few small letters appeared on the edge of her earlobe in a regular pattern. It was really beautiful. That way, you'll have one more distinct mark than Mu Tongxue. She wouldn't be able to imitate you. She didn't have to worry that others wouldn't be able to tell them apart. It turned out that Sheng Xiao had kept her dream in his heart. No matter what, he could tell Mu Qiqi apart. Because Mu Qiqi had answered his question before. A person's smell and breathing pattern could not be replicated. But to make Mu Qiqi feel at ease, he immediately brought Mu Qiqi to get a tattoo. Then, Sheng Xiao unbuttoned his shirt and lay down on the chair, looking very unbridled and lazy. Even the tattoo artist was amazed. A man like Sheng Xiao could easily get any kind of woman he wanted. However, his taste seemed to lean towards the younger ones. The one below your collarbone will be slightly bigger. It will look better this way. It won't hurt, Mu Qiqi quickly said to Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao looked at her earlobe. He was not just satisfied. He really wanted to kiss this little thing's pink earlobe. But since it was not the right place, he closed his eyes and let the tattoo artist leave Mu Qiqi's name on his collarbone. Men are usually afraid of being tied down, especially men like your boyfriend. It's obvious that he really cares about you. The tattoo artist whispered into Mu Qiqi's ear. Cherish him. I wish you all the best. Mu Qiqi's face turned red, but she held Sheng Xiao's warm hand all the way. Although they tried their best to hide their relationship, it was not a capital offense if someone found out about it occasionally. In 10 minutes, Sheng Xiao's body now bore another person's name. To Mu Qiqi, Sheng Xiao might have carved her name on his body, but to Sheng Xiao, Mu Qiqi's name had long since been carved into his heart and bones. After the tattoo was done, Sheng Xiao asked the tattoo artist to keep the information a secret. Then, he left the quiet courtyard with Mu Qiqi, and was ready to return to the small mansion. However, when they reached a place where there was no one else, Sheng Xiao suddenly stopped his sports car. What's wrong? Xiao Xiao. Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi. Then he licked her red earlobe. Mu Qiqi felt her whole body trembling. She felt weak. How sensitive. Sheng Xiao smiled playfully. Then, he let go of Mu Qiqi and continued driving. Mu Qiqi blushed. She could not help scolding him. You are so naughty. You always tease me. You don't like it? Sheng Xiao asked Mu Qiqi. Of course I like it. It's the only way Xiao Xiao treats me. Mu Qiqi was unfortunate after she left the Mu family. She had almost no family on her side except for Suzy Pei. But at the same time, Mu Qiqi was lucky. If she did not leave the Mu family, she would not have been able to save Sheng Xiao and fall in love with him. If Mu Qiqi had to start over, she would rather endure the pain of being slandered again. She just wanted to meet Xiao Xiao. How lucky she was that the person she liked her too. When they reached the small mansion, Sheng Xiao said to Mu Qiqi, "Let's go." "The tattoo. I know how to explain it to Aunt Zipei." Mu Qiqi replied. "Good girl." Mu Qiqi, who had changed her appearance, mustered the courage to enter the house. She smiled confidently when she saw Su Zipei's surprised expression. "I'm home, Aunt Zipei." Su Zipei looked at Mu Qiqi from head to toe. She could not help but sigh when she saw how beautiful Mu Qiqi was. "Qiqi, you've really grown up. You've become beautiful. Do I look good?" "Of course. But your earlobes." "It's a tattoo, Aunt Zipei. I had a dream that Mu Tongxue was pretending to be me and did something illegal. The police found me and arrested me. I was very sad, but no one could tell us apart. So I told Brother Xiao about it, and he brought me to get a tattoo. He said that Mu Tongxue, and I would be more obvious this way." "What does it mean?" Su Zipei was studying the meaning of the letters. "It doesn't mean anything. The tattoo artist asked me to choose a pattern. I thought it looked good, so I chose it. I don't know what it means." Mu Qiqi said naturally. Su Zipei nodded in agreement. "That's good. But will the school give you trouble?" "No one would find out if I let my earlobes down. Moreover, I'm going to graduate soon. It won't be a problem." Mu Qiqi explained. Su Zipei did not say anything else. She was very satisfied with Mu Qiqi's attitude. Chapter 65. Mu Qiqi successfully hid the origin of the tattoo. She went back to her room and lay down on the bed in satisfaction. To her, every day she spent with Sheng Xiao was like burning herself, because she did not know when bad news and blows would come one after another. She had neither status nor background, and her family was hostile to Sheng Xiao. Moreover, Sheng Xiao was her benefactor. With so many factors, she did not know how far she could go with Sheng Xiao. But just as she had told Sheng Xiao before, as long as Sheng Xiao did not give up on her, she would not give up on him, even if her head was bleeding. It did not matter if others looked down on her or humiliated her. She was prepared to sacrifice everything for this relationship. To her, she had to give everything she had. But to Sheng Xiao, he did not just want to give up his heart. He would advance step by step, plot and lay all the foundations for Mu Qiqi, so that she would not have to go through more hardships. As a man, planning for the future was something he had to consider. No matter what kind of situation he was in, he would never let go of what he wanted. Looking at the tattoo in the mirror, Sheng Xiao put on a shirt to cover Mu Qiqi's name, because Mama Sheng had been knocking on the door for a while. Sheng Xiao got up and opened the door. Mama Sheng was holding a key in her hand. She said, "The house is ready. It's a villa with a view of the sea. When are you going to move in?" "After the new year." Sheng Xiao replied. "That's right. There are a lot of family gatherings during the new year. It's not convenient for you to be out alone." "Sheng Xiao, you won't disappoint me, will you?" "When have I ever disappointed you?" Sheng Xiao asked Mama Sheng in return. He had always been swift and decisive in business, and had created a legend of invincibility. Of course, he knew that Mama Sheng was referring to disappointment, but he was just playing dumb. "Among you and your brother, the family has the highest expectations for you. You know what I mean?" Since he was the crown prince, he was naturally the center of attention. But Sheng Xiao did things his own way and never cared about anyone. "Mom, I'm sleepy." Sheng Xiao used his trump card. "All right. Rest." Mama Sheng left the key and turned to leave his room. Sheng Xiao could devote a lot of energy to the Sheng family's diamond empire. But he was destined to disappoint his family when it came to his personal life and feelings. Looking at the key that Mama Sheng had given him, Sheng Xiao put it in the drawer. He planned to let Jing Yun stay there, because he wanted to create some human presence in the house, so that Mama Sheng would think that he was staying there. He had also prepared the key to the detached villa, near Shingting University. When the time came, he would let Muchichi go in and see how to decorate it. Previously, he wanted to bring Muchichi to pick one, but it was too eye-catching. So he had already asked someone to look for this villa. It was extremely secretive. The next day, Muchichi went to school. Since her image had changed overnight, it was only natural that she would receive the attention of all the teachers and students. Such a Muchichi was confident and dazzling. When Qian saw her, she couldn't believe it. OMG, is this still my desk mate? Chichi, I don't even recognize you anymore. Does it look good? Muchichi smiled. Compared to White Lotus Mu from class 5, you're so much more dazzling, okay? I don't like obedient girls. I'm super satisfied. Who did this for you? I'm going to ask him too. Muchichi looked at her exaggerated expression and couldn't help but say, I'm not going to tell you. Hey, what's on your earlobe? Qian reached out and moved Muchichi's hair away. When she saw the tattoo, she quickly covered her mouth. Chichi, you've become naughty. You actually got a tattoo. It's to distinguish Mu Tongxue. Muchichi said faintly and signaled Qian to keep quiet. But it's obviously a person's name. Hurry up and tell me. Who did you tattoo? Qian knew what her youngest daughter was thinking. She knew that Muchichi wouldn't simply tattoo a name on her ear. That the person you had a crush on in your diary? Muchichi nodded as if admitting it. It's so romantic. I want to go too. Qian hugged Muchichi and played with her. Then she covered Muchichi's tattoo. Chichi, I know that you do everything secretly and don't want others to know. But I'm not someone else. I'm your good friend Qian. Mu Tongxue can't be your good little sister, but I can be your good big sister. Do you understand? You can come to me if you need me. I know, Qian. Muchichi was very touched. Qian really told her everything. However, she didn't hide it from Qian on purpose. She just hoped that when the time was right they would meet again. On the other hand, Muchichi's appearance today had become a hot topic in the school. After all, everyone knew about her and Mu Tongxue. The two sisters were fighting each other, neither willing to let the other go. Still, judging from the current situation, Muchichi definitely had the upper hand in every aspect. Whether it was her grades or the recognition of others. Mu Tongxue had been exposed several times in a row. That was why she was like a street rat in the school. Even though she was transferred to class 5, there were only 1 or 2 girls who could get close to her. Especially when she saw how dazzling Muchichi was now. Mu Tongxue could only do the work that Papa Mu arranged for her to numb her nerves. Because she didn't want to fall behind Muchichi. She would be the person in charge of Mu Group in the future. But what about Muchichi? She was just a sponsor. She had no background. There was no future for her in the future. However, Mu Tongxue's grades dropped even more when the final exam results of the semester were released. It would be difficult for her to get into Shingting University. Mu Tongxue was very worried about that. Mama Mu couldn't help but think of her previous idea. She wanted to change the grades of the two sisters after the college entrance exam. She didn't think it was necessary before. But now, she felt that she had to prepare for it as soon as possible. After all, there was not much time left after the new year. Speaking of the new year, the semester was coming to an end. But Muchichi thought that Xiao would be busier during this period. Moreover, there were so many people in the Sheng family. They would definitely celebrate the new year together. That meant that she could only spend the new year with her aunt. Xiao wouldn't be able to leave, would he? That night, the two of them went on a date as usual when Su Zipei was asleep. However, Sheng Xiao didn't bring her to the revolving restaurant or other places that she was familiar with. Instead, they went to the new villa area. When the sports car drove into an unfamiliar place near Shingting University, Muchichi suddenly realized something. Xiao, this is Shingting University's campus. Chapter 66. Muchichi's heart was beating wildly. She was not mentally prepared for that. She felt that all of this was just an extravagant hope. She did not even dare to think that she could still live with him. Seeing that Muchichi was speechless, Sheng Xiao stopped the car in front of the villa and asked her, "What's wrong? Are you unwilling?" Muchichi pushed the door open and got out of the car. When she saw the huge floor-to-ceiling glass, she was very excited. How could I not be willing? I'm just too willing. That's why I'm afraid. I'm afraid that everything will disappear from my eyes in the end. Xiao Xiao. Sheng Xiao put his arm around her and opened the door with her. Don't be afraid. Just do your best. Mu Qiqi was led by Sheng Xiao into the new home he had prepared for her. She felt as if her entire body was floating in the clouds when she saw the warm furnishings. It was so unreal. Then Mu Qiqi was brought to the second floor. When he pushed open the door to the master bedroom, Mu Qiqi's cheeks were burning, and she did not dare to look at him directly. From now on, we'll sleep here. After saying that, Mu Qiqi did not dare to look up. He lifted her chin and asked, Are you shy? Mu Qiqi nodded, not daring to look into his eyes. Sheng Xiao leaned over and kissed her. Then, he carried her horizontally and placed her on the soft bed. Mu Qiqi felt as if her heart was about to jump out of her throat, but Sheng Xiao simply sat on the edge of the bed and told her, I'm just letting you test if the bed is soft. You're teasing me again. Mu Qiqi glared at him, but there was nothing she could do about the demon. Sheng Xiao caressed Mu Qiqi's earlobe with his long fingers. Go take a look at your cloakroom and study. Let me know if there's anything you want to change. I'll have Jing Yun prepare it. Mu Qiqi looked at him solemnly when she heard the name Jing Yun. Assistant Jing, do you know about us? Do you think you can hide from him? Sheng Xiao smiled wickedly. Don't worry. It's not his place to meddle in my private affairs. So, you don't have to worry that our relationship will be leaked. But you have to tell me when you're willing to admit our relationship to the public. Mu Qiqi was very uneasy and panicked. You dragged me into hell, so you have to be responsible for me. At that, Mu Qiqi reached out and hugged him. I can do anything for you. Sheng Xiao smiled and patted her head. Just sleep here tonight. I'll send you back tomorrow morning. Mu Qiqi did a double take. Could it be that Sheng Xiao wanted to? What are you thinking? Little rascal. Sheng Xiao smiled mockingly and got up from the bed. Take a shower by yourself. I'm going to the study for a video call. There's something I need to deal with in the United States. Then, where are you going to sleep? Where do you think I should sleep? Sheng Xiao asked seductively beside Mu Qiqi's ear. Mu Qiqi's body softened, but she did not have time to think, because Sheng Xiao had already stood up and walked towards the study. What about her? After a nice shower, Mu Qiqi did not dare to think too much. She was afraid, but she would not stop him if he really wanted to. After all, she would do anything for the one she loved. So Mu Qiqi took a shower in the bathroom. But she did not put on her clothes, and simply wrapped herself in a bathrobe and lay down on the bed. She was very nervous, and her mind was running wild. She was afraid that Sheng Xiao would think that she was not simple, and would think of ways to seduce him. But her feelings were really complicated. But she waited for Sheng Xiao for about 3 hours. She almost fell asleep in a daze, and only heard the sound of Sheng Xiao returning to his room. Sheng Xiao looked at the little one on the bed. He saw her exposed arms and the clothes beside her, and knew that she was not wearing them. He really did not know how the little one could be so bold. After washing up in the bathroom, Sheng Xiao dressed neatly and returned to the bedroom, and quietly lay down beside Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi was so frightened that she wanted to turn over, but Sheng Xiao held her down. Don't move, or I don't know what I'll do. Xiao Xiao. Sheng Xiao raised his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. He caressed her earlobe with his finger and said softly, I want you, but not now. At least, when you go to university, you will no longer be a little thing. I can. Don't be easily coaxed by men. Even though I'm the only man you could have in this life. With that, Sheng Xiao kissed Mu Qiqi's forehead and lay back down. Sleep. You have to wake up at 5. How could Mu Qiqi fall asleep under such circumstances? In her new home, with Sheng Xiao lying beside her, Mu Qiqi felt that her life had been turned upside down by Sheng Xiao. She felt that she could never go back to the right track. That night, Mu Qiqi was very careful and nervous. She was a little disappointed. So, she could not sleep until Sheng Xiao woke up in the wee hours of the morning. To be precise, he did not fall asleep either. You keep tossing and turning. It seems that you really want me to do something to you. Having said that, Sheng Xiao sat up and hugged Mu Qiqi in his arms, letting her lean against his strong chest. Xiao Xiao, if I didn't pester you, have you thought about what kind of partner you would find? Mu Qiqi asked. Not interested. Sheng Xiao answered decisively. It's not like I haven't seen other men changing their women 3 times a day, but that has nothing to do with me. You don't like those. I don't like others touching my things. That's why I don't like touching what others have touched. Sheng Xiao explained to Mu Qiqi very seriously. Mu Qiqi, I'm not a stickler for rules, and I don't like to follow them either. That's why I prefer to play with taboos like you. Mu Qiqi listened quietly in Sheng Xiao's arms, because she had a feeling that Sheng Xiao liked to describe her as bad. But in fact, he was very attentive and considerate of others' feelings, even when they were in a bad situation. Unable to hold back, Mu Qiqi kissed the back of Sheng Xiao's hand. I'll follow you with big strides. Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi. He knew that she was naked under the blanket, but he did not put his thoughts into action for Mu Qiqi's sake, because he did not want to become truly despicable. The two of them leaned against each other and soon fell asleep. In their new home, the two of them slept in each other's arms. At 5 in the morning, Sheng Xiao woke Mu Qiqi up punctually and sent her back to the little mansion. On the way, Mu Qiqi could not help asking, Xiao Xiao, is the Sheng family very busy for New Year? Very busy, Sheng Xiao answered. Then, Danian, are you unable to come out of the Sheng family? Why? Do you want to see me? Or do you want to be like last night? Chapter 67. You evil little thing. Sheng Xiao sneered. Then he stopped the car near the villa. Just stay at home. I will come back to find my heart. What do you mean? You took my heart. Who else can I ask for it if I don't ask for it? Then he kissed Mu Qiqi's lips. Mu Qiqi laughed. It was so sweet. Then, she pushed the door open and went home. Although she felt sorry for her aunt, she felt that she had gone crazy. Soon, the school announced that it was a holiday. However, Mu Qiqi did not have the life to take a holiday. She had spent the whole holiday studying, so that she could become stronger. She wanted to improve herself in all aspects. Meanwhile, under Papa Mu's introduction, Mu Tongxue was also meeting some business friends or socialites, starting to interact with them. Of course, it was only a few months before the college entrance examination. Mu Tongxue showed her anxiety. She fainted a few times at home. Mama Mu could not stand it any longer, and told Mu Tongxue about her previous plan. Although it's risky, I think your sister is more confident with her results. I've already asked around, and all you need to do is pay. After the college entrance exam, your sister's results will be yours. Mu Tongxue nodded. That's right, Mu Tongxue. Mu Tongxue did not say anything, but she nodded to gain her father's trust. Mommy, you are the best to me. Even so, you still have to do your best. If the exchange fails, you can still keep your results. Do you understand? Mu Tongxue knew that very well. Although she wanted to hand in a blank paper and let Mu Qiqi score 0, it was not realistic. Moreover, it would be easy to be discovered. So, Mu Qiqi could only take advantage of it. Recently, your father has brought you to visit many of his friends. It seems that he trusts you more and more. Study hard. In the end, Mu Group will be yours. I understand, Mommy. She would let Mu Qiqi enjoy herself for a few more days. When the results of the college entrance examination were out, she would cry all over again. Mu Qiqi patiently attended all sorts of tutoring sessions, but realized that her aunt seemed to be more willing to spend time on grooming herself in the last few days. Mu Qiqi paid close attention to Su Zipei's every move, and could not help asking her before dinner, Aunt Zipei, you've changed recently. Su Zipei was stunned. You saw through me? Aunt, if there's anything you can tell me. Mu Qiqi held Su Zipei's hands and said, Do you still remember your vice principal? Su Zipei asked. So he lives nearby too. I saw him going out several times when I went to buy groceries, so, he pursued you? Mu Qiqi asked excitedly. I don't know what he sees in me. Maybe I was mistaken. You know, although your uncle was chased out of Jianchuan, I still have a clean break with that scum. Plus, you need to take care of me. How could I think about those messy things? Mu Chichi thought of their vice principal, a cute uncle in his early 40s. He was a good match for her aunt. In fact, the vice principal had already noticed Su Zipei when she attended Mu Chichi's parent-teacher conference. Later, he was very excited when he found out that she was in the villa area. So he could not help but talk to Su Zipei. After a while, how could Su Zipei not understand what he meant? Aunt Zipei, if he is really a good person, why can't you agree? Don't sacrifice your life for me. Mu Chichi held Su Zipei's hands and said, It's still not appropriate. It's going to be New Year soon. I have to go to Sea City for 2 days to visit your grandparents and sweep their graves. Do you want to go with me? Actually, Su Zipei just wanted to escape. At her age, she did not want to marry into a rich family. She felt that her current life was more comfortable. Aunt Zipei, I still have a lot of classes. Don't worry. I will ask old Lin to help me wherever I go. Don't worry, Mu Chichi replied. No, you can take old Lin with you. At most, I won't go out for a few days when you are not home. Su Zipei thought about it and nodded. It's good that you don't want to go. When your grandparents were still alive, they didn't treat you well. There's no need for you to go and see them. However, I won't be taking Elder Lin away. You can go wherever you want or find your classmates to play. But there's one condition. You must keep in touch with me. I understand, Aunt Zipei. Mu Chichi was already an adult. It was not a problem for her to stay at home for a few days. Moreover, old Lin was there. Su Zipei was busy now. So, she did not have time to care about Mu Chichi. All she wanted was to leave for a few days to calm down. So Su Zipei packed her luggage that night. Mu Chichi was a little disappointed when she remembered that she had never been apart from her aunt. Aunt Zipei, I really hope that you can be happy. Su Zipei smiled and caressed Mu Chichi's head. I will come back before New Year to spend the New Year with you. Got it, Aunt Zipei. Mu Chichi sent Su Zipei off and told Sheng Xiao about it. Since Su Zipei was not home, Sheng Xiao went straight to the little mansion to have supper with Mu Chichi. What do you want to ask me? The vice principal of our school is wooing you, but you think that she is not good enough for him and rejected him. Mu Chichi told Sheng Xiao. Xiao Xiao, you know the vice principal, don't you? You want him to be your uncle. I just think that when I get married, Aunt Zipei would be all alone. Mu Chichi said sadly. I hope that she can find her own place. She is still so young. Mary. Sheng Xiao chuckled and pinched Mu Chichi's chin. Do you think you can still get married? Why can't I? Mu Chichi retorted. You have already slept on the same bed. Who else do you want to marry? Sheng Xiao asked Mu Chichi disdainfully. You're not innocent anymore, Mu Chichi. Mu Chichi blushed but did not say anything. Instead, she held Sheng Xiao's hand under the table. I don't want anyone but you. Satisfied, Sheng Xiao told Mu Chichi. I have a business trip tomorrow. I will be back the day after tomorrow. Chapter 68. As if it was a prank, Sheng Xiao suddenly approached Mu Chichi and whispered into her nose. What about tonight? Mu Chichi did not dare to move, and could only answer honestly. It's your home. You can stay wherever you want. What if I want to sleep in your bed tonight? Then Mu Chichi quickly pointed at Su Zipei's room. I'll sleep in Aunt Zipei's room. What if I want you to stay with me? Then Mu Chichi could not say anything, because Sheng Xiao's kiss was already on her lips. Mu Chichi was already used to kissing him so intimately. Still, she could not concentrate at home, because she was afraid that Su Zipei would come back at any moment. Perhaps sensing her absent-mindedness, Sheng Xiao released her lips and carried her horizontally on the dining table. Scared? Mu Chichi was stunned and nervous. I'm afraid that Aunt Zipei would suddenly come back. Guilty conscience. Sheng Xiao deliberately made Mu Chichi look straight at him and kissed her again. This time, he deliberately swept her lips and tongue, so that she did not have the energy to think about anything else. And in just a moment, Mu Chichi went limp and leaned against Sheng Xiao's chest. Little rascal, your aunt won't come back. Mu Chichi hugged Sheng Xiao's narrow waist tightly, deeply inhaling the faint scent of his body. Xiao Xiao, how could I like you so much? Sheng Xiao took the chance to pick her up and walk step by step to her little room. Mu Chichi was so nervous that her heart was beating like a drum. She was afraid, but at the same time expectant. Soon, Sheng Xiao kicked open the door to Mu Chichi's room. He had not entered Mu Chichi's room since the little mansion was given to them. Seeing that her room was filled with books, Sheng Xiao put Mu Chichi on the bed and held her hands. "Are you looking forward to it?" Mu Chichi blushed and could not help biting her thin lips. Sheng Xiao chuckled and let go of her. "You wish." Mu Chichi knew that he was teasing her, so she got up and locked the door. Now, she would not be afraid even if Su Zipei came back. However, Sheng Xiao laughed out loud. "Little rascal, you don't have the slightest potential to do bad things. My car is down there. Before I met you, I never dared to do such a thing." Mu Chichi confided in Sheng Xiao boldly. "I won't be kissing and hugging a man so frequently at this age. I won't be teased by him in all sorts of places." Sheng Xiao sat on the bed, his eyes glinting with a sharp gaze. He was like a sharp eagle, staring at his prey. She could only take out her pajamas from the closet and said to him, "I'm going to take a shower." "Go." Sheng Xiao lay on the small bed and said, "I'll leave in a while. Then I won't bother with you anymore. You're too despicable." With that, Mu Chichi entered the bathroom. Suddenly, she remembered the night she was sold. Sheng Xiao was injured and sat outside waiting. In the end, he even called the hotel manager over just to open the door for him. Now that he thought about it, the situation was completely different. Mu Chichi quickly finished her shower and returned to the bedroom, only to find Sheng Xiao lying on her bed with his eyes closed. Mu Chichi smiled knowingly. Just as she was about to cover him with the blanket, he rolled over and pinned Mu Chichi beneath him, locking her firmly. "Sleep, Xiao Xiao. I told you you're too young." Sheng Xiao made his stance clear, but changed his position so that Mu Chichi could lie more comfortably. It was the first time Sheng Xiao spent the night in Mu Chichi's room. For Mu Chichi, it was another kind of shock. She liked this man too much. That was why she was willing to take the risk. In the dark, Sheng Xiao kissed Mu Chichi's forehead and her alluring earlobe. The little one had no idea how torturous she was. That was why Sheng Xiao waited until Mu Chichi fell asleep and checked the safety of the little mansion before driving away. After all, he was not confident that he would really swallow the little one if he stayed. It was hard to imagine that the great crown prince of Huang Yao would have to restrain himself if he wanted a woman, because he was waiting for the apple to ripen. When the day came when it turned red, he would eat the little one until nothing was left. The next day, Mu Chichi was woken up by her phone ringing. She quickly woke up when she saw that it was her aunt, because she thought that Sheng Xiao was still in the mansion. But when she saw that the room was empty, Mu Chichi answered the call. "Aunt Chichi, are you okay being alone at home? Are you scared?" Su Zipei, who was in the car, wanted to call Mu Chichi to make sure she was safe. "Don't worry, Aunt. I'm fine," Mu Chichi quickly answered. "That's good. Have fun with your classmates today." At the mention of classmates, Mu Chichi only remembered that she had a date with Qianqian. So, she quickly got up and hurried to the place where she had agreed to meet Qianqian. Qianqian panicked. "Why are you only here now?" "I fell asleep." "I'm sorry, Qianqian." Mu Chichi quickly explained and presented breakfast to Qianqian like a treasure. Only then did Qianqian calm down. "Get in the car. Let's go to Z City." "Why are you going so far?" "I want to see the person I like. He is studying in Z City," Qianqian explained to Mu Chichi. "Let's go. We won't make it if we are late." Mu Chichi did not tell Sheng Xiao where she and Qianqian were going, and Sheng Xiao did not tell Mu Chichi where he was going. When they arrived in Z City, Qianqian brought Mu Chichi to the entrance of a private high school. Mu Chichi looked at Qianqian's expectant face and could not help but smile. "So you are in love too?" "Uft. We are all adults. Who doesn't have someone they like?" Qianqian winked at Mu Chichi. "Then how do you know him?" "He is my neighbor's child." In Mu Chichi's heart, Qianqian should like a warm and caring man. But when he walked out of the school with silver hair, Mu Chichi only saw an arrogant little boy. "Xiaoan, why did you come to me?" The boy walked to Qianqian with a disdainful look. He even smoked a cigarette in front of her. It made Mu Chichi's impression of him very bad. But it was easy for a rich boy to get a disease, as if the whole world revolved around him. It's the holiday. I miss you. Duan Xiaoan snorted and walked in front. He brought Qianqian and Mu Chichi to the high-class club he was familiar with. Let's play billiards together? Mu Chichi did not like the noisy environment, because this place could not withstand Sheng Zhao's phone calls. But when she saw Qianqian was so happy, she could not leave. Perhaps what she feared had come true. So when Sheng Zhao called her, Mu Chichi was so scared that she hid in the washroom. Xiao. Sheng Zhao was a sensitive person. How could the crown prince not know about this kind of occasion? When he heard the music, he asked her immediately, "Where are you in the bar?" Mu Chichi was helpless. She could only tell Sheng Zhao what happened today. And when Sheng Zhao heard that she was in Z City, he immediately asked, "Which club are you in?" Chapter 69. Stay there and don't move. Mu Chichi hung up the phone and returned to the hall. She could not help but sigh when she saw so many rich young men and ladies squandering their time in the club. Sometimes the world of the rich could be very dangerous. Qianqian seemed to be used to such an environment. It completely changed Mu Chichi's understanding of Qianqian. "Come here, Chichi. I haven't introduced you to each other." Qianqian waved at Mu Chichi, who was sitting by the window and looking at the scenery. Mu Chichi did not like this kind of occasion, but she still walked to Qianqian. "Xiaoan, this is my good friend Mu Chichi. Chichi, this is my boyfriend Duan Xiaoan." Mu Chichi glanced at him and then looked away. She did not like the kind of boy who deliberately dressed up to make others stay away from him. That was a boy who had not grown up. Duan Xiaoan held the cue and sneered at Mu Chichi. "Your friend does not know how to play, does she? She is shy. She is a good girl. What is a good girl doing here?" Duan Xiaoan glanced at Mu Chichi contemptuously. "Chichi does not like this place. So, I will play with you for a while. Then we will leave." Qianqian knew that her friend was cautious, but she did not forget to protect her. "Up to you." Qianqian stood up and played basketball with Duan Xiaoan. Mu Chichi was bored. Her tattoos and her attire did not make her look like an obedient child. But her eyes showed that she was a newbie. Very soon, a tall figure entered the Dynasty Club and was looking around for something. Perhaps it was because of his demonic aura, which coincided with the club. So many men and women whistled at him along the way. At this time, Mu Chichi was lying on the sofa in a daze. Duan Xiao and Qianqian saw Sheng Zhao first. "I did not expect to see him here." Duan Xiaoan pointed at Sheng Zhao with his chin. "Who is it?" "The Crown Prince of Huang Yao." Duan Xiaoan said. Qianqian turned around and saw Sheng Zhao. She immediately understood why Duan Xiao and was surprised. After all, she knew how famous this man was in Jianchuan. Mu Chichi did not see Sheng Zhao until he walked in front of her. He grabbed her collar and lifted her up. When Qianqian saw that, she immediately walked over and defended her friend. "What are you doing?" Mu Chichi was surprised to see Sheng Zhao. She quickly said to Qianqian, "It's okay. You can play." Sheng Zhao was too lazy to care about Qianqian, but to prevent the little one from being brought to such an occasion again, he did not forget to warn her. "Don't let me know that you bring her to such a place again. It's very safe here, like a wolf or a tiger." After saying that, Sheng Zhao grabbed Mu Chichi and left. Mu Chichi quickly resisted. Xiao, let me tell Qianqian. After all, she brought me out to play today." Sheng Zhao let go so that Mu Chichi's feet touched the ground. Mu Chichi took a deep breath and said, "1 minute." Then, she returned to Qianqian and looked at her widened eyes. "Qianqian, when are you leaving? Give me a call. We'll meet up again." Qianqian could not help but grab Mu Chichi. She could not believe it. "Is the crown prince yours?" "Boyfriend." Mu Chichi answered helplessly. She did not expect to introduce Xiao under such circumstances. Qianqian's eyes widened. She was shocked to death by Mu Chichi. "All right. You go first. We'll talk about this later." "Okay. I'll call you later." Then, Mu Chichi obediently returned to Sheng Zhao's side. The two of them left the club together. Qianqian watched them leave. She could not believe it. "Am I hallucinating? Isn't Mu Chichi secretly in love with someone in school?" Damn, he managed to get the crown prince. This ability is really not just for show. I've underestimated your friend. Duan Xiaoan could not help but sigh. I say, Mu Qiqi has changed so much recently. She even has White Lotus Mu under her feet. With the crown prince supporting her, who should she be afraid of? Qian Qian suddenly felt very happy. White Lotus Mu probably would not have expected that Mu Qiqi had such a powerful backer. Moreover, even if White Lotus Mu got married in the future, she would be suppressed by Mu Qiqi. After all, Mu Qiqi had seduced the best girl in Jianchuan. Ha ha ha. This is great. Mu Qiqi did not know that Qian Qian was secretly enjoying herself. She just followed behind Sheng Xiao obediently. She did not dare to make a sound. You're so arrogant just because I'm not here for a day. Mu Qiqi felt a little guilty. She quickly changed the topic. Aren't you on a business trip? I'm on a business trip. It's a production base 20 kilometers away from City Z. Sheng Xiao glanced at Mu Qiqi, who was looking down at the ground. I'm having fun. Xiao Xiao. I. Before Mu Qiqi could explain, Sheng Xiao dragged her into the sports car. He made her sit on his lap and pressed her against the steering wheel. Then he scolded her harshly. Mu Qiqi's red lips were swollen. She looked aggrieved. I didn't know Qian Qian would bring me here. From now on, you are not allowed to come here unless I bring you. Sheng Xiao ordered domineeringly. You are such a delicious little thing. There are many people out there who would covet you. Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi could not help kissing Sheng Xiao's thin lips again. She could not control herself at all. Since they were out of Jianchuan, she could not help but want to be a little more presumptuous. She did not want to suppress and control herself. Sheng Xiao held her waist and kissed her earlobe. He only stopped when his breath changed. He hugged Mu Qiqi tightly. Mu Qiqi wanted to move, but Sheng Xiao did not let go. Don't move. Do you want me to do you in the car? Mu Qiqi was obedient. She did not move at all. After a while, Sheng Xiao said to Mu Qiqi, don't go to that place again at night. Go back to Jianchuan. I wouldn't dare to do that with you here. Mu Qiqi muttered. And you appeared without telling me. I still have to explain to Qian Qian. I don't care about others. I only care about your safety. Sheng Xiao bit Mu Qiqi's earlobe hard. I'll let you remember. What about you? I'll be done here at 10. I'll come and pick you up then. We'll go back together. Sheng Xiao arranged. Okay. I got it. I'll wait for you. Sheng Xiao nodded in satisfaction. He asked Mu Qiqi to wait in a safe cafe until Qian Qian called her. Qiqi, where are you? I'm in the cafe outside the club. I'll come to you now. Qian Qian was filled with curiosity. She did not expect that Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi, the two enemies who had nothing to do with each other, would actually be in a relationship with each other. Chapter 70. When they arrived at the cafe, Qian Qian found Mu Qiqi's seat and sat opposite her. Tell me honestly, what's going on? Mu Qiqi put down the porcelain cup in her hand and explained. It's like what you see. I'm with Sheng Xiao. You're just a high school student. Qian Qian was in disbelief. How do you know the crown prince of Huangyao? I saved him when I was chased out of the house, Mu Qiqi explained softly. All right. It doesn't matter how you two got to this stage. What's important is that you are Sheng Xiao's girlfriend now. If White Lotus Mu bullies you, you can hit her back, okay? What's there to be afraid of when you have such a strong backing? Qian Qian, it's not convenient for us to make our relationship public yet. Mu Qiqi told Qian Qian, since it was one of her worries. Qian Qian smiled and took a sip of her tea. Of course I know. We're both in secret. But don't you feel good, Qiqi? The Mu family thinks that you're suffering outside. Who would know that you're the crown prince's consort? If Mu Tongxue bothers you again, just give her a tight slap. Don't you think I'm messing around? Mu Qiqi asked Qian Qian worriedly. After all, Xiao Xiao is 8 years older than me, and the Mu family and the Sheng family are business enemies. Why do you care about what others think? Are you going to leave the crown prince if they don't like you? What's the point? Most importantly, you two should be happy and enjoy your relationship. You should know that your partner is the dream lover of every woman in Jianchuan. What's there to be discontented about? Qian Qian's words were very important to Muqiqi. After all, she knew that there were very few people who could accept and support her being together with Xiao Xiao. She would feel more secure with her friend's support. Tell me, how far are you two now? Qian Qian asked Muqiqi nosily. We're going to live together after university. That's exciting. Have you kissed him? Is he hot? What does my hot body have to do with you? Sheng Zhao's magnetic voice wafted from behind them. Qian Qian turned awkwardly and waved at him. Hello, Crown Prince. Let's go home. Sheng Zhao glanced at Qian Qian and pulled Muqiqi up from the table. He warned Qian Qian, don't bring her to such occasions in the future. Qian Qian made an okay gesture, completely ignoring Sheng Zhao. Qian, I'm going. My chauffeur is downstairs. You guys go ahead. Qian Qian waved at Muqiqi. Muqiqi followed behind Sheng Zhao obediently like an obedient wife. Qian Qian giggled when she saw that. Muqiqi was like a rabbit in the mouth of a big bad wolf, and could be devoured at any moment. You're still in the mood to have fun here, Sheng Zhao said sternly as soon as he got into the car. Qian mu. Mu qian mu. Mu qian. Qian qian mu mu. Qian shi. Qian qian on. Shi. Qian qian sheng with Shan. Mu qian comma qian mu. When Muqiqi heard that, she suddenly felt as if someone was strangling her throat. She couldn't breathe. Her uncle did not just know that she was taken away by Sheng Zhao. It was because that scumbag had sold her, and thought that she had been violated by someone else. What do we do now? I've already sent Jing Yin to intercept them. Sheng Zhao answered Muqiqi as he drove. Seeing her pale face, he asked, Are you scared? No, Muqiqi said stubbornly. In fact, she was afraid that her relationship with Sheng Zhao would be exposed. If that happened, she would not be able to stay by Sheng Zhao's side forever. She was very greedy for the life with Sheng Zhao now. Nothing will happen as long as I'm here, Sheng Zhao comforted her. Muqiqi did not know how she got back to Beijing. She was worried that her uncle would look for Mu Tangxue. Sheng Zhao seemed to have noticed her worry. He stopped teasing her and answered her seriously. Jing Yun has sent more people. It's impossible for him to get in touch with the Mu family. I'm not afraid of him. I'm afraid that he will affect me staying by your side, Muqiqi suddenly said to Sheng Zhao, feeling wronged. When they arrived at the small villa, Sheng Zhao parked the car in front of the villa. Then, he pinched Muqiqi's chin and told her seriously, No one can affect you staying by my side. Muqiqi's eyes were filled with tears, but she did not let them fall. I'm not afraid of losing anything now. I'm just afraid of not having you by my side. Just as Muqiqi finished her words, Sheng Zhao grabbed her waist and pulled her onto his lap. Then he pressed her against the steering wheel and punished her harshly. Muqiqi could not breathe under Sheng Zhao's deep kiss. When she regained consciousness, Sheng Zhao had already carried her out of the car and entered the villa. Of course, they could only be so presumptuous when Su Zipei was not around. They kissed from the door to the bedroom, as if there was no one else around. Muqiqi breathed in big mouthfuls of fresh air. Her mind was completely occupied by Sheng Zhao's name. That night, Sheng Zhao did not leave. He hugged Muqiqi and fell asleep, waiting for her to wake up in the morning. The next morning, Sheng Zhao called Jing Yin. Have you found him? There's no news yet, young master. We're strengthening the investigation. You must find him before he goes to the Mu family. If we had dealt with him before, he wouldn't be a problem now. Sheng Zhao's voice was cold. The existence of this uncle had left a huge shadow in Muqiqi's heart. He should not have shown mercy to that scumbag then. Yes, young master. Muqiqi heard Sheng Zhao's call. She sat up and hugged Sheng Zhao from behind. Xiao Xiao, pack up. Your aunt will be back in the morning. Sheng Zhao told her directly. Xiao Xiao, you should go. I know what to do with my aunt. Muqiqi rubbed her head against Sheng Zhao's back. Sheng Zhao turned and put his arm around Muqiqi's neck, pulling her closer to him. I, Sheng Zhao, never liked to be secretive, he told her. But for you, little one, I've tasted what it's like to be secretive. Are you regretting it? Muqiqi asked tentatively, looking into Sheng Zhao's eyes. How exciting! Sheng Zhao snorted coldly. I won't be merciful when I find your uncle. Don't interfere with how I deal with him. Chapter 71. After Sheng Xiao left, Mu Qiqi quickly got out of bed and tidied up the room, afraid that Su Zipei would notice that a man had been in the room. Fortunately, Su Zipei's mind was focused on that scumbag when she got home. She did not even notice if a man had been lying on the big bed in Mu Qiqi's room. When I went to visit your grandparents' graves, I heard that your scumbag uncle had appeared in your hometown not long ago. He's probably hiding somewhere in Jianchuan now. Su Zipei was really worried. If that scumbag went to the Mu family and let them know that Mu Qiqi was sponsored by Sheng Xiao, the Mu family would never allow Mu Qiqi to stay in the small mansion no matter what. That scumbag likes gambling. I could ask his old friends. They might know where he is. And it's too dangerous. Xiao, brother Jing has already sent assistant Jing to investigate. Mu Qiqi comforted Su Zipei. I don't want to see you being bullied by him again. But, Aunt, if we find that scumbag, would you consider getting a divorce? Mu Qiqi asked Su Zipei. After all, she knew that the vice principal of Eton was keeping an eye on Su Zipei. It was not because of his background, but because she hoped that her aunt could find a home for the rest of her life. Or at least not with that scumbag uncle. Su Zipei looked at Mu Qiqi and said nothing. After a long while she nodded. I do have to get a divorce. But I'm not doing it so I can remarry. Aunt, anything is fine as long as you are happy. But not that scumbag. Let's find him first. I'll ask his friends. Su Zipei insisted. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I'm just making a few calls. That was more like it. That was why Mu Qiqi did not stop her. In fact, that scumbag had secretly returned to Jianchuan. But he could not resist the urge to continue gambling. However, after entering the casino with great difficulty, he would lose all of his earnings very quickly. Now that he could not blackmail Su Zipei and Mu Qiqi, he could only turn his attention to the Mu family. Still, the Mu family was well aware of his gambling habit and would not answer his calls, much less meet him in private. Because of this scumbag had been observing the surroundings of the Mu family's villa for several days. But every time, he could only see the Mu family's car coming out of the villa. He never saw anyone from the Mu family. Seeing that he didn't even have enough money to eat, this man decided to stop the Mu family's car to blackmail them. Even a poor relative was still a relative. Wouldn't they give him some face? That was why he had been standing guard outside the Mu family's villa, watching the Mu family's cars coming in and out. When he finally saw Mu Tongxue and Mama Mu leaving, he fearlessly stepped forward, causing the driver to brake abruptly and startling the mother and daughter in the car. The driver hurriedly got out of the car, only to see the scumbag roll a few times and grab onto the car door. Sister-in-law, I'm here to see you, sister-in-law. Neither Mama Mu nor Mu Tongxue recognized the man at once, and had the chauffeur send him away. What kind of relatives are you talking about? Look at you. Do you look like our madam's brother-in-law? Mama Mu looked at the man a few more times. She had already recognized him, but she did not want to admit that she knew this man. Mu Tongxue, on the other hand, reached out to open the door. Swear. Mommy, that really is my uncle. That beggar is only here to ask for money. Why are you getting out of the car? Mama Mu held Mu Tongshue's hand. Still, Mu Tongxue wanted to know where her uncle had sold Mu Qiqi. She wanted to know the secrets that no one would know, and to get hold of Mu Qiqi's weakness. But that was when Jing Yun's men found their target and quickly went up to him, holding him up while telling the Mu family's chauffeur, "This man owes you money. He must be trying to blackmail you. We're looking for him too, trash." The Mu family's chauffeur cursed and returned to his car, leaving the house with Mu Tongxue and Mu Tongxue, completely unaware of the secret he had missed. Soon, Jing Yun brought the man to his and Su Zipei's house, and waited for Sheng Xiao to deal with him. When Sheng Xiao learned about it, he gave Su Zipei a call. When Su Zipei learned that the man had been captured, she brought the divorce papers to their old house. When she saw that the scumbag was unrepentant, she promptly put the papers in front of him. "I've suffered a lot from you over the years. I had thought that I could endure it for the rest of my life. But I really didn't expect that you would sell Mu Qiqi for money." The man was surprised to see that Su Zipei had become so beautiful and noble. "Su Zipei, are you seeing someone else?" I just want to divorce you. Susie Pei repeated. I won't. I won't let you have it easy even if I die. Susie Pei laughed self-deprecatingly. She really never realized that she had been so blind before. Do you still remember what young Master Sheng said when you were chased out of Jianchuan? Susie Pei asked her husband. Now that you're back, don't blame me for not reminding you that your limbs might be cut off. The man was left dumbfounded at that. Young Master Sheng knows? Who do you think caught you? Susie Pei asked him in return. You still want to go to the Mu family? What do you want to say to the Mu family? You've sold their daughter. Do you think the Mu family will care about you? Let me tell you, the Mu family has prepared a lawyer to catch you. You're lucky that they didn't recognize you today. Why don't you hide far away? Do you want to die? The man felt a chill down his spine when he heard that. Then what should I do now? Sign the divorce papers. Then I have some money here. You can take it with you, but you must leave Jianchuan immediately. Susie Pei coaxed the man. This is your only way out now. The man was tied up, but he understood the severity of Susie Pei's words. But when he thought about it, Susie Pei was wearing gold and silver now. She might have already found herself a rich man. If he let Susie Pei go just like that, wouldn't he suffer a great loss? You'll be free if I leave, right? The man snorted. He would not let go even if he was tied up. No way. Unless you give me 1,000,000 yuan, I'll leave immediately. Susie Pei was shaking with anger. She really wanted to cut that bastard down with a knife to protect Mu Qiqi. But Sheng Xiao had told her that if she failed to persuade him, he would do it himself. She had no choice but to tell Sheng Xiao the truth since she could not handle it now. When Sheng Xiao received Susie Pei's call, his eyes flashed with cold flames. I have my ways to deal with scum. Chapter 72. Then, Sheng Xiao asked Jing Yin to prepare a few things, and only drove to the slums when everything was ready. Meanwhile, Susie Pei was still trying to persuade the man, but Sheng Xiao was not that patient. The door was opened, and the scumbag was still tied up on the chair. He was a little afraid when he saw Sheng Xiao. Young Master Sheng, how have you been? You're quite bold. You don't even listen to me. Sheng Xiao sat down on a clean chair and leaned against it. I heard that you want $1,000,000, he said to the scumbag. Sheng Xiao had stood up for Mu Qiqi before, but he was still poking his nose into her business. Wasn't the answer obvious? Sheng Xiao had taken good care of Mu Qiqi and Susie Pei. So the scumbag mustered his courage and said, Young Master Sheng, Mu Qiqi is already with you. Do you think it's too much for me to ask for $1,000,000? To you, it's just a drop in the bucket. Please be generous for once. Sheng Xiao nodded. Since I'm in a good mood today, I'll give you a little. But I don't have $1,000,000, but I can give you $100,000. Do you want it? The scumbag wanted to bargain when he heard that it was only $100,000, but Sheng Xiao cut him off. You won't have a single cent if you're greedy. The scumbag knew that Sheng Xiao was not to be trifled with, and he just wanted to take the money and leave. It seemed that he had something on Sheng Xiao, and he could come back to extort more from him. All right, 100,000 it is. Then, Jing Yun put the $100,000 in front of the scumbag. But before that, Sheng Xiao had a condition. Sign here, and you won't come back to Beijing from now on. No problem. You're too generous, young Master Sheng. And the divorce agreement. Jing Yun put the letter of guarantee in front of the scumbag, and had Susie Pei put the divorce agreement in front of the scumbag, and untied him. But the scumbag only had eyes for the cash in front of him, and did not know what the letter of guarantee was. Although he was unwilling to sign the divorce agreement with Susie Pei, he could just deny it when he ran out of money. After signing, the man put the money into his pocket and praised Sheng Xiao. Thank you, young Master Sheng. You're the crown prince after all. Susie Pei watched the arrogant man leave. She did not understand why Sheng Xiao gave the man 100,000 and encouraged him. Young Master Sheng, I'm not the one who paid that 100,000 yuan. What that scumbag signed just now was not a letter of guarantee, but an IOU. It clearly stated the interest and the repayment date. As long as he doesn't take out 1,000,000 yuan by tomorrow morning, I don't know what those debt collectors will do. Maybe they'll break his arms and legs? Sheng Xiao chuckled. He could not hide his excitement in his words. She abruptly understood Sheng Xiao's intentions. The nose of a debt collector is sharper than that of a private detective. As long as he dares to stay in Jianchuan, he'll either have to pay back the money, or give up his life. As for the interest on the loan note, it would only snowball, and roll bigger and bigger. At that time, if this scum still dared to appear in Jianchuan, his name would be read backwards. Then don't worry. He won't die. With those words, Sheng Xiao left the house. He knew what he was doing. That's good. I'm just afraid that for me and Mu Qiqi. Take his life? I'm a proper businessman, Aunt Zipei. With those words, Sheng Xiao led Su Zipei into the car and drove her back to the little mansion. Now that the scumbag was dealt with and the divorce papers were in hand, the two of them did not have to worry for the time being. Still, Su Zipei felt even more guilty. She felt that she and Mu Qiqi owed Sheng Xiao more and more. Even if Sheng Xiao only wanted Mu Qiqi from start to end, he still wanted her. Mu Qiqi had been worried until the two returned home. She quickly went up to them. Aunt Zipei, how is it? Young Master Sheng, it's all settled. Su Zipei told Mu Qiqi. And the divorce papers. That's good. Mu Qiqi reached out and hugged Su Zipei before looking up at Sheng Xiao. Although she did not know how Sheng Xiao did it, she only felt that she was adding to his burden. Sheng Xiao fixed his gaze on Mu Qiqi, his meaning clear. Mu Qiqi quickly let go of Su Zipei and said, Aunt Zipei, it's good that you're fine. I left in a hurry last night and didn't have time to explain to Qianqian. I'll go look for her now. You should rest at home. Go. Su Zipei's mood was very complicated. She held the divorce papers in her hand and needed to organize her thoughts. That was why she did not stop Mu Qiqi. I'll send you there, Sheng Xiao said. Thank you, young Master Sheng. Su Zipei thanked Mu Qiqi on her behalf and watched them leave the house. Of course, going to look for Qianqian was just a pretense. Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi to their new home. With this secluded place, Sheng Xiao did not have to bring Mu Qiqi to the revolving restaurant anymore. Once they entered the house, Sheng Xiao picked Mu Qiqi up by the waist and put her on the dining table. Then he kissed her fiercely. Mu Qiqi tried her best to respond, wanting to give him her whole heart. But no matter how crazy Sheng Xiao was, he knew the severity of the situation. Before they had that thought, he left Mu Qiqi's lips. Why? Are you still unhappy? I think I'm a burden to you. I don't want to cause trouble for you all day. I want to be useful to you. Mu Qiqi answered Sheng Xiao seriously. Do you think you're not useful enough for me? Sheng Xiao sneered. He grabbed her hand and put it on his body. His strong body hid the desire that was about to erupt. Mu Qiqi buried her head in Sheng Xiao's chest. She could not help but raise her head and feel the man's Adam's apple with the tip of her tongue. Sheng Xiao immediately pressed her down and spanked her little butt. Do you want to die? Xiao Xiao, I can do it. With your current body, you can't endure my demand. After Sheng Xiao was done, he helped her up and stared at her tearful eyes. Or can you go to college with a big belly? Mu Qiqi did not think too much. She just felt that she did not want to disappoint Sheng Xiao again. They were in a stalemate for a while. Then Sheng Xiao carried her down from the dining table. I'm hungry. I'm going to cook. I want to get used to the life of two people. Uncle, no, I mean, will that scum really not appear in my life and Aunt's life again? No, Sheng Xiao answered with certainty. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.